Right. Hello.
Good afternoon. Oh, you scared me there for a second. Good afternoon, Wooly. How are you today?
All right. Didn't bring it up last week, but I will bring it up this week.
Bring it up.
Preemptively, there is still construction in the neighborhood. Therefore,
well, because you live in Montreal.
Yes. But I did notice, like, some people were like, why did no one bring up the noises in the background? And it's like, do we need to do that every single time? Do I have to keep explaining it for 10 years, guys?
I have a reason. My reason is really simple. I don't even notice construction noise anymore. I don't hear it.
Because the option to completely remove it is and put a background filter up. Like, when I did that, it worked, but then it led to my voice crackling and a bunch of shit happening.
Because you're construction noise.
Well, whatever it was, the filter ain't perfect. It means it makes my voice sound more annoying and during peaking and stuff. So it's like, you gotta take and give. It's push and pull.
You know my favorite part of that? I went to the podcast thread and people were like complaining about it, and there were like 4 different people like, "What the fuck is going on in Pat's background? Why isn't he doing anything about it?" No, it's not me. I don't live in construction hell zone anymore.
Yeah, no, it's it's what it is. I mean, there's like, there's a lot of cases where it's like there's always the construction of the city hellscape going on where there's just like cones everywhere, but a lot of people are also like using summertime to like do their own construction per private things and renovate things and so on, and a lot of that is what's going on as well. So you're hearing that, and you're also hearing, because there's a construction workers holiday in Quebec, right?
Because those hard-working men deserve some time off as they stand around and watch some guy fill a pothole. That's rough.
So it's a thing where it's a week where construction work stops, and it's been around since the 70s essentially, and because of that, there is a large delay with a lot of things getting done, but also a lot of people try to get their jobs done before that time, which is around summertime is when it hits, really.
Because you don't want to have like the fucking hole in the earth just open to the elements for 7 full days.
So there's a lot of construction that goes on regularly, but there's an even more increased period of time during which the construction holiday approaches. So yes, but all this to say, it's just like, guys, it's at this point we can just move past it, because that's what it is. You know,
I just saw a fantastic suggestion in the chat. Someone suggested that you lean out your window and just catcall the fuck out of the boys down on the street.
Hey, les gars. Yeah. Okay. We can start with that tech.
But then you get that awkward moment where like somebody's like, "Hey," and you're like, "No, actually, I'm just being an asshole. There's nothing for you here. I'm just being a prick for fun. I'm sorry."
Yeah. Well, JF was kind of interested, but he was like, "Oh, don't lead me on."
Ever known named JF was interested in anything you could put on the table. That's why they name him JF.
Hit him with a "How you doing" in French. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Yeah,
I haven't heard that in a while. Feels good, man.
Yeah, but no, that's the state of affairs, and it's just you learn to live with it. But also, and this is, I guess, more like whatever life meta, but
life meta.
Yeah, I
Doing life meta.
Well,
Check out this hack.
in regards to background noise, at the very least, once quarantine hit and we had a point of like, oh, so like Punch Mom's got to work from home now. Okay, so that means like during the podcast, she's going to be taking her breaks and doing things. And at one point, the kitchen is right there, so you might hear a beep from a microwave going or whatever, and things are happening. And there's a part of it where it's like we do our best when we have control over the situation to isolate sound and create a fairly good quality sounding thing when possible. But at some point, life kind of just has to happen. And I've said it before, but it's like there's a level of this where it's like, okay, it's not like don't go to the bathroom, don't use the kitchen, you may not flush while we are broadcasting. Like that's insane, right? Life is going to happen because we're people living lives, and it's going to be a part of what goes on, and we do our best with it, but it's not going to be 100%. That's fine.
I took completely absurd measures upon selecting a house with an office that was a completely separate building specifically to avoid this thing. And that's why I get so pissed off when people are like, what's up with the construction noises in the background of Pat's? It must be Paige cooking on the fucking kitchen. I'm like, the kitchen's like 100 feet over there, man.
Yeah. No, I am not in a Gianni closet for sound isolation.
And then people make fun of my curtains that I picked out. I like my curtains. I think they're nice.
Yeah. Why is Wooly angry again? Why is Wooly angry a thing?
Because Wooly, you're so mad. Remember when in college when we called you Angry Wooly and you were just ranting
non-stop.
and raving
I'm
all the
so
time?
mad. I branded my entire fucking channel around how angry I am. It's crazy how upset I get. Wildly
no.
Man, I don't know. I'd like you to just experience a level of constant nitpick over the smallest things for an indefinite period of time and see how your demeanor is affected by it.
Oh man, dude.
It just like it's a thing. What do you want me to tell you, man? It's a fucking thing.
Remember when I had like a stinky dog that would be occasionally in the background and he would make mouth noises? Like, do you think it's an appropriate solution to that annoyance is to send like pictures of dead dogs my way in order to tell me to stop oh yeah.
What the fuck, man?
Oh, wonder what's up on the Twitter DM. Oh, cool.
Wow. Cool. Perfectly normal listener.
Very reasonable.
Normal listening activities. That's good.
And so I'm not going to deal with that with an infant, so I am in a different cube place.
Yeah. For every unreasonable random thought, moment, blurt, question, comment, whatever, there's just person who is in a... I don't even know, like, anyway. Cool. All right. That's a thing. The more you try to understand it, the worse it is. So literally just fucking abort. Yeah.
All right.
Well, anyways.
So moving on, video games. Did you know that video games are happening every day?
They are in fact happening every day, and
damn it,
it's getting.
We'll never stop them.
It's getting quite difficult to keep them in their place, but we do our best. I had a week that was not super eventful, but I don't know. I definitely hit that point in FF16 where, well, I mean, okay, so I know where you're at on that. But
yeah, hold on. I'm gonna go look at your while you're talking. I'm gonna go
by
look
all
at your
means,
VODs.
would you? Yeah, go. Well, you can hit up the YouTube for the latest episode titles.
Oh yeah,
to see where we're going on that one.
Okay, good. All right, let's go. Wooly versus. What do we got here?
Yeah, let's see. What episode?
They hate us because our dicks are bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Mm-hmm. You have encountered theme of slavery.
Now, what's going on before that one?
Oh, hold on. Wooly already killed the past. FF16 is sort of like a Serbian film.
There we go.
So that's a bit of a pull. That one's a bit of a
Yeah, let it cook. Let it cook. Mm-hmm. Stir the pot.
I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I gotta be honest.
It takes a second.
Does it?
It takes a second, but
does it take 1 second?
Takes about a second.
I don't know.
You get there. You do.
Come on, Mom.
I explain it. I definitely explain it. But we have hit that point where the analogy is thus, right? So obviously you are aware of the summary of that movie and what it is and what happens in it.
Yeah, no, we can just move right.
We can move right past that. The introductory chapter to walking into, I was gonna say Martha's Vineyard, but it's Martha's Rest. Martha's Rest,
and it happens to be after the vineyard section.
Yes, but it is not in fact that. When you get there, you get the 1-2 fucking body combination of here is okay. So obviously we're going to talk about early FF16 spoilers, followed by Pat talking about like a mechanical.
This is what Wooly's talking about is in between the second and third icon abilities.
Okay,
so pretty early.
Yes. So,
dude, that game can easily be chopped into fucking upgrade bits.
Which like, Mega Man boss are you after? It's the most
obvious thing in the game. You can say after blank, but before the next one, and like everybody knows exactly where you're at.
So you get a cutscene of just eavesdropping on a recently. A mother that just walked in.
Oh, that one. Okay.
And is like, yep, I just had the baby. 9 months of carrying that thing. Turns out it was a bloody bearer. Can you believe it?
Gross.
Didn't want to deal with that. So, oh, that's horrible. Did you give it to the maesters then? Did they take care of it? And you're just like, yeah, I just left it with them. Get that out of my life. I couldn't wait to be rid of the thing. And then her son's like, so that wasn't my brother, right? And she's like, no, we'll give you a real brother soon enough. And you're that's
the line that just cuts, right?
Yeah, right. So it's like, this is random select, random possibility. This is not like the dominants who have been passed down through the families, right? Is what we kind of are introduced to.
Dominants are also random.
Oh,
mostly.
Am I thinking
Phoenix
of?
Seems to be an exception.
Okay, then I guess yeah. So the establishing thing in the beginning about the Phoenix is that this is passed down inside the Ross fields, and this is what they do. You know, so when it comes to that sort of idea, you're like, okay, there's an expectation here. But the fact that anyone can give birth to a bearer or a bearer can give birth to anything and it's random select is this...
it doesn't have to be the result of a dalliance or, you know...
So depending on the horror of what type of mother you come out of, you might just be completely fucked from day one. Immediately following this scene is... And then... You use up all your bearer abilities, which, of course, have a cost on your lifespan, and then make you sick, and then you fucking die prematurely. So you're garbage, and then you die, and that's the end of it. Thanks for your service. Get the fuck out, right?
More importantly, you die bad.
Yeah. Yeah, horrible suffering in a fucking cot, if you're lucky. So the game goes out of its way to really, really early give you this juxtaposed point that is from birth till death, you are fucked no matter what you do, which is the entire thesis statement of a Serbian film. That's the point of what happens in that, and that's the metaphor and why. So it's like
There's a
you get to walk out of that church in that early mission, going, okay, and this is the state of the world. This is what bearers actually are and what it actually means. You obviously got the vibes up until that point, but now you look at it and go, oh, there is no god you can kill that would fix that mother. Like,
no, because it's societal.
She is broken, as are the people, and like Clive can't do enough air combos to fix the problems in society. That is
even
couple generations of
even
fucking
if you were to solve
pain.
the blight, even if you were to solve like all foundational societal problems, you would still have all these people around that feel this way.
I believe the way I phrased it is we're going to need a couple years of bearer crow laws, right?
Yeah.
To other everybody until eventually they can be integrated. But really, like, even with their equality, there's going to be that point of like, yeah, but everyone looks at you like the garbage of society. So how do you deal with that?
So,
right.
I don't know. I don't know. So I did not read any of the active time lores in the entire game. I think I checked out one. And so as a result, somebody will tell you this verbatim, even though it comes up like the very first time you talk about the mark, the tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
That tattoo is going on like 1 day old infants.
Yeah.
To make sure. Gotta make sure.
Exactly. And if you have your X-Men moment, then we'll get you in your teens. But the moment we know, we're getting it on there. Yeah.
And then there's a detail that's like kind of hidden in the active time lore. The ink of the tattoo is like viciously poisonous.
Oh.
So if you were to try and take it off, you would cut yourself and die.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, so that's why the scarred people with the removal. Okay.
That's why, like, the
we
scars
saw,
are like
we saw
big chunks.
We saw the scarred.
Out.
We saw the scarred people. Yeah. Okay. So I haven't hit that point, but like we saw the scarred people, and I was like, yeah. I wonder if, and I guess I was just like, some people have it and some people don't, and I wonder if it's just a matter of like, you know, my personality. Like, I will decide, like, I'm free, but I want to get rid of what this means, versus some people who might, like, I don't know. I can imagine a world where, like, that type of trait that unites you then becomes your pride. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's
like the cross.
Exactly, or whatever it is, right? So that's a thing that's like, you're branded by that. Fuck you, we're taking it. This is what we do. So I can imagine it's like, it's up to you if you want to get rid of it or not. But like, I didn't realize there was a caveat to that. That's an interesting thing to it as well.
So yeah, the whole that situation is like not fixable by any act of any main character. Like, even if you were to have a big bombastic, look everyone, we're working together with it, like, a bunch of those people are gonna be dead in the ground before they change their mind.
And there's always that little damper of that you put on the story of like, hey man, like, curb your enthusiasm for how happy the ending can possibly be, right? For whatever the state of this world is, because there is something to the simplistic old 16-bit video game where, and then the world was saved and everybody had a balloon festival at Lean Fair, and
you know, it all worked out.
You know, and yeah, there's some bad out there, but overall, yay, you know. And yeah, the idea that it's just like, no, kind of like us, there's big problems you can solve, but there's a whole lot of little ones that ain't going anywhere anytime soon because the people are poison. You know? Yeah, and if you wanted to FF16 to this, instead of Yuna with guns, you just would have Clive and Jill with fucking picket fucking signs and giving speeches to just like, hey, can we not be trash people? Can we not be garbage? That'd be cool. I don't know.
So, hey, you've been playing now, and Jill's in your party. Like, Jill's actually icing people.
She's doing it.
I'm absolutely convinced that party members in that game exist to take out that one wolf that is at the ass end of the arena on the other side of where you wiped everybody, because I'll finish fights and go, what? I'm still in a what the? And then I'll turn, and then Jill and Torgal are like just stabbing some dog to death 100 feet away from me.
You gotta run up to
thanks.
them. Yeah,
I appreciate that you saved me that. No,
the enemy indicator will give you a hint, but a bunch of the times they're just locked onto that shit over there, and by the time you make it over, it's super murdered. I am also like, I'm running into some, I guess I'll call it a zero-time dilemma.
Zero-time dilemma.
Where I have a dilemma in that, like, I feel like I want to go see what's around that corner, and I know that a side quest will send me there, but there's zero time because we got to get to the main quest because we got to get a move on.
I totally had that exact thing happen to me at that exact spot.
Yeah.
Where there's all these little alcoves and little, and
you
I'm like, I go into them.
Yeah.
And then I kill, what's here? And then I leave, and then I go to the side quest, and then they send me right back to the spot I was just at.
And the thing is like, the way I play a video game is I like to explore, I like to look around, I like to see what's going on, and the longer I spend in the world, the better it takes for me to understand things. I also, sometimes it takes me a second to digest. I need digestion of, like, new information on a regular basis. I think that's clear with.
So you want to get a feel of, like, okay, what does the countryside of Rosaria actually fucking look and feel like?
And so when I have to get sent there, if there is in a game, like, the game has a map and a big indicator, but if it was a Souls game, for example, it would help me a lot to be able to be like, I ran around the corner before, I know what's going on, let's go do that, right? The fact that you run around that corner and then you fight a completely different enemy at the end of that hallway compared to when the side quest sends you there means there is something to go find back there, you know? But then the question as to judging whether or not that's worth the time during the LP versus, like, moving on and such is always that's one where I'm just like, yeah, I'm not too sure. You know, and I to this day, like, it's difficult for me to, like, make those decisions and be like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna skip that. When I'm like, God damn it, I really do want to go see what's around that corner. You know.
So, I have beaten the whole game now, and despite my early objections, I went and did every single side quest. And, most of my complaints around the game are actually related to what you're talking about right now. This is a single player action game built by the Final Fantasy XIV for good and for ill. Every single alcove, path, little tiny open area that doesn't seem to connect to anything, etc., in the entire game is purpose built for fucking something. Like just like when you first enter the Martha's Rest area, there's like a big open field that's like a marsh, and there's nothing in it. There will be a mini boss that will spawn there later that's optional.
Obviously,
this alcove is for a quest that you probably don't have yet, and it's like every single spot on every map.
Yeah, you see like a building, and I'm like, okay, I know what that's gonna. There's gonna be a side quest there, and like there's going to be things that push you to go discover this map. There's not going to be much that'll be made without a game incentive to go there at some point. It's clearly made to show you everything.
There's only, and I mean only, one type of thing that the game won't point you at. And it's those chronolith trials, the fucking the things that look like the training room, but that you find out in the wild.
Oh, okay.
The stone obelisks,
Arat stone style.
Yeah, those things the game won't point you to. They kind of expect you to find, but other stuff will point you relatively nearby.
Okay. And how did you make the judgment calls, I suppose, on, like, which side quests to bother with on camera versus not?
I did them all on camera.
Oh, okay.
So here's what happened. Here is the exact reality of what happened. I got to, let's say 80% through the game, and every like massive main quest like story beat will unlock a batch of side quests. And I mean, and they all unlock simultaneously. So you'll go back to the hideaway, and all of a sudden they'll be boom, 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 all over, right? And I did that batch, and I was so fucking bored. I was so fucking bored by them that I gave up and started to hit start and hold triangle to fucking skip every part of the cutscene on every single one
on it. Okay. And
I'm like, I don't know if I explained it on my stream or here last week, but like the long sad story of my brother, and it's all voice acted, and it takes like 4 or 5 minutes, and then I go and kill one goblin, and it takes 2 seconds, and I come back. Like, I don't care. But after I did that, I'm like, I am no longer doing any of this game's goddamn side quests. I'm so done. Only to be informed, but Pat, the final batch of side quests are the good ones, because every single one is you hanging out with a member of the gang that you've acquired over the... So, like, this side quest is about hanging out with Gav. Right? And like, I like Gav.
Yeah.
So I would like...
At one point, we were on a red quest, and I was like, this feels like it should be green. This, you know...
Oh, you're going to feel that a lot.
Yeah, like, this is the greenest feeling red quest ever.
Look, my eyeball, you're going to feel that a
lot. What's wrong with the concept of a tertiary quest? Why not have a main, a secondary, and a tertiary quest? Why not have a yellow quest, right?
So...
It makes the green ones even more ignorable, probably. That's why.
When I do the final batch of side quests, they were still, and this is personal opinion, obviously, even though I'm hanging out with Gav, I'm like, I don't care enough. I don't care enough. And ended up skipping all of those. And despite the fact that I skipped almost every cutscene in almost every one of the final batch of side quests, except for the ones revolving around Jill and Torgal, because they're my big favorites, right? It took me almost 4 hours on my stream to just do point to point, kill the thing, point to point, get the reward. And when I'm dealing with this, I'm encountering many new problems with the side quests that I hadn't noticed. The biggest of which, and this is by far the biggest, sometimes you fight like unique enemies, or you'll fight like a reskinned boss as part of the side quest. And you'll start to notice this, maybe not with this batch, but the next batch. Every side quest in the game is leveled and tuned on the assumption that this is the first side quest.
You mentioned that last week. Yes, yeah, you mentioned that. So they're not going to increase the challenge, respectively.
Yeah, but like because you're doing them, it starts to expand. The final batch of side quests, I was doing at level 48, and the cap is 50, and I was fighting enemies that were level 38. And like at that point, you get weird situations where you fight the mini boss, like a minotaur or something, and your regular sword swings are doing like 1/10 of the stagger bar.
One thing I will say is that I am, because of the genre of the game, I'm more willing to currently undergo more encounters, because I like to practice and fight and lab and combo the shit out of stuff, you know, and that's a fun thing to do. So like if it were a combat style that was a little less fun to me, or a little more of just like menu selection, then it wouldn't be as engaging, and I'd dry the fuck out mentally on it. But like in the moment, because of the fact that I want to do combo, I kind of am like okay with being sent to go do things.
A great point. I will now defer to the wisdom of one Sid Meier, back when he was making one of the Civilization games, which is, quote, if you leave it up to the players, they will optimize the fun out of the game. So the problem with what you're describing is that as eventually you get enough AP to buy everything you want off 3 icons, right? You have enough AP that you're like mastering skills to put like, I want to put Garuda's skill on Rama, and you know, just to get it. And eventually, around the 75% of the way mark, you start to get to the point where you have every skill that you want, and you've ordered them in the way that you want on the bar. So what happens is you stagger the enemy, and then you just blow 5 ultimates in a row.
You run the yeah.
And then the enemy dies. And what starts to happen is, like, most of those aren't good for actually staggering. So you just fight the boss with your base move kit, your base move set, until they stagger, and then you evaporate them. And there's only so many times I can do a 5-button rotation before getting kind of bored.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I was running into a big problem. I was doing I did all the last max level S rank hunts, and I can't even get to the end of my cycle before they're dead. Like, I'm doing like stagger, 1, 2, 3, 4, dead.
Yeah. And that's why I can see myself probably, like, after optimizing to a certain point, I could see myself still, like, putting style, like, extensions on things and doing suboptimal things to try and have a bit more fun with it. I'm looking at some of those third expensive abilities on the they're
pricey.
The icons, but they look like deleters. And it's like, oh, then I don't even have to do a air combo or counter projectile hit. It's just nuke the fucking thing and walk away.
It's tough because the system wants you to stagger enemies, and then when they're staggered, really pour it on, right? And then they give you 6 buttons that pour it on 100 times harder than all of your regular shit. So what do? You stagger them, and then you just burst the piss out of them. It started to break encounters. I was like one cycling like super bosses, and I beat the final boss, and I'm like, that was a great fight, really fun. And then I went onto the twitter.com and saw a mutual of mine say, it really shows a lot about how the damage threshold works in 16 that Pat didn't even see the final boss's last phase.
Oh.
And I went, what? He goes, yeah, he was supposed to have this and this and this big moment and this big moment and this moveset that you never saw. And that was Jason at Invinyon. And then Mr. Fields, Chris Wolfhart, comes in and goes, what the fuck? I didn't see that either. And then Gene comes in and says, wait, on Final Fantasy mode, I thought they had more attacks, but I guess the fights were just lasting longer because I was bursting them so hard. And I'm like, this is a problem in FF14 right now. In FF14, Endwalker's final boss has a huge dramatic set piece to it that higher level players or people that are playing with their friends that have been playing Endwalker for a while don't see, because the boss gets bursted down too hard.
Oh, man.
And so I beat the game and was like, yeah, that was a cool fight. And now I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't get to see the coolest part of the fight.
Holy shit, that's a problem. That's a humongous balancing problem. Like, we've been talking about the same thing for like 3 weeks in a row now, so I'm a bit like wary to retread the same ground and clip and go over the same bits about the difficulty, but that is fucking, that is that's bad. And it's not just you, right? Because we've had that, like, like, okay, we've been playing character action our entire lives, yada yada, but a number of other people online have also missed out on that. Like, that's fucking not great.
So, the icon you have now is Phoenix is really good. Garuda's really useful. The next one's really strong. The one after that's even really stronger. And then the 2 after that, the instant you get them, you're like, I don't know what they were thinking. This is breaking the game apart. I was no, like, by the end of the game, like, they were loading me into action set pieces, like, the, oh no, the monsters are coming through the walls, oh, what are we gonna do, that I was defeating in sub 1 second. And then the cutscene starts and they're like, oh no, I don't know if we'll manage to make it, oh my god, it's so hard. And I'm like, actually sub 1 second encounters. And that's really cool, because I built my character and I set them up to do that. But like, the fucking story is falling apart. Like the side quests start to get more and more annoying, where they're like, Clive, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do, Clive? There's like 10 bandits outside. What are we gonna do?
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'm gonna hit one button, and they're all gonna die. And because it happens in like alt or stagger time, it looks like the world attacked them and they all just exploded.
Like, the playtesting must have been insanely skewed towards people that don't know what they're doing, that like struggled aggressively, right? Because this is a thing with, there's so much polish that goes into these titles that they must have gone back over it and looked at so many people struggling and went, no, we need them to be able to have these deleting abilities, but because they're not using it in an optimal way, But having a phase be skippable also is that's like, you can make thresholds where it's not a point on the life bar that creates an action, it's a stop and introduce a new scene.
So
thing,
they do that. The final boss has like 5 or 6 phases, and if you burst him hard enough, he'll just jump into the next phase.
To
HP gate it. But it's not enough. So here's what happened. I loaded into the last phase, and the boss took one swing, and within 10 frames of the first swing coming out, I hit my alt. And here's the mechanical problem that allows this to happen. Time stops during the ults. So when you're doing, I'll use like Phoenix. Phoenix has like you've seen the little video and the thing, the flames of rebirth that just go everywhere. Yeah, time doesn't pass.
Okay.
And when you come out of it,
your cooldowns.
If you're mashing the next one, it's gonna come out within like 1 frame.
Okay.
And so you're essentially doing, I was doing like 250,000 damage within like 10 frames of the startup of the boss's punch.
Okay.
And like, there's no HP gate in the world that is gonna stop that.
Interesting. Yeah, man. Okay. I'll just keep that in mind as I go. I suppose that that's the progression of things. But in the meantime, I suppose, like, I'm thinking about these side quests and I'm thinking about the way that
they're terrible.
The last story. Remember the last story?
Yes.
If I remember correctly, that was the game where you would hit the boss fountain, and it was a literal fountain that you could just sit at and wail on until you were ready to walk through the door in case you felt underleveled. And like, it's not that the combat in that game was like, comparing to the shit that we're talking about now and stuff, but if you were to do that to me and give me just a series of just waves that you can activate to challenge yourself, to try to, mess with different combos and again use the system to its ability, I can have fun with that even without a bunch of NPCs asking me to go bring them wood or retrieve their insanely racist fucking bullshit for them. But yeah, I guess what you're describing feels like you have to self-impose limiters for your own sake if you want to enjoy the ride.
So there was one thing that I started to do during fights in which were of narrative importance. which was don't save all my abilities for the stagger phase because stagger does like, you know, a total of 50% more damage. Instead, just blow them instantly because I don't know if I'll, you know, I got hit a point where I was fighting a boss and I blew every single ability I have and it brought them down to 75 because 75 is when the next part of the story then the fight happens, right? Don't play the game the way the stagger system actually tells you in its tutorial to tell you. Once you get enough of these abilities, just start fighting the enemy like a big enemy and you'll see more of it.
Now, it's funny because I'm reminded at the same time when we're talking about this of, like, hitting Kefka and, like, blowing through one phase of that statue, you know, like, nearly instantly, and, like, how it's like, oh, that feels good. Like, that was a, like, positive thing to, you know, get in the middle of, like, just kind of winging it and hoping for the best. But it's
what would happen if you were fighting God Kefka and you're climbing the tower and you got to see the angel and then you cast one spell and then you started to go into the ending and you didn't get to see Kefka attack you?
Yeah. Yeah. Just Luminaire Lavos and call it a day.
Like,
yeah.
It,
okay. So
Clive makes Dante look like a pussy by the time you get to the end of this game. It defies belief. And it's like all of the abilities they give you, boy, they're actually a ton of fun to use because holy shit. But like what do you, Clive, that's like a whopping one ogre? What are you worried about, dude? And what's weird, and I mean really weird, is that the game already solved this problem because the fights where you are an icon, where you're playing as Ifrit or like Phoenix in the intro, have predetermined abilities,
values,
predetermined stats, predetermined everything. And those fights, as a result, are fucking awesome. They're maybe a little bit too easy, but you see all of it.
I was so worried that I was going to get a repeat of Bayonetta's kaiju battles.
No!
And it felt so much better.
No, man. Okay, so like I was talking,
what a relief.
I was talking about this when I beat the game. Like I would give this an 8 out of 10 on a Final Fantasy scale. Pretty great story with one very notable gigantic problem. Sorry, two notable gigantic problems that suck. So I now understand what every review talked about, where when it moves away from politics in Game of Thrones, all of a sudden it starts to be not as good. It's just not as interesting. It's just not as well written or interesting. But the side content in this game is like legitimately completely awful, like horrible side content, bad. I would recommend to you, Wooly, personally, as a streamer man, to do every single side content other than the hunts, the notorious marks, or, you know, the optional bosses, off camera or not at all.
Okay. Interesting.
But the highs in this game are like scraping 11. They're like incredible.
I was basically gonna be talking to Solidus about like, here are the ones worth looking at, and here are the ones you can just do off camera. And I was gonna have a list of, you know, which ones are kind of worth it versus not. But, okay.
I'm gonna tell you the ones that are worth it in the whole game are the side quest with Torgal.
Okay.
That one. That's the good one because he's a good dog and it's good dog quest.
There's another concern too as well, which happens with Mass Effect too, where like if you, and this is weird streamer like game issues. This is not real life, but if you mainline while on camera, with the plan of going back afterwards, you might mainline yourself past the ability to even do those side things.
Nope. They're always going to be available.
In this game, you're always good no matter what.
They may not be available right now, because what might happen is you get to a part where, like, we have to go to the new fucking place, and then it'll lock you. But then you go to the new place and load in, and then it goes, oh, okay. There is one part of the game where they'll tell you straight up, you must complete all the side content because you're not going to be able to come back to this shit. And that part, you'll want to clean up everything on the side.
Okay.
But after that...
I did get warnings about some stuff being limited to this chapter number.
Yes,
you know?
that is a thing. And the game will tell you. It will also be fairly obvious. You're kind of coming up on it.
Okay.
Like, it's within the next couple of weeks for you. Chat will let you know. They'll let you know. But yeah, what a great game with, like, wild, glaring flaws. And it's extra frustrating to me as somebody who has dealt with some versions of those flaws for like 9 years.
Interesting. Yeah, and it's also like following up on FF7R that didn't have this problem.
No, it didn't. FF7R's like, okay,
your abilities never got, I guess, as good as what you're describing.
Oh my god, not even close.
You kind of still have to fight.
So I put up a big list for fun, and I said you can't argue this because I thought that would be really inflammatory.
Of course.
And I put up a big list of my personal ranking of Final Fantasy games after beating 16, right? And of note is that I put FF7R and Stranger of Paradise directly above 16. Which Stranger of Paradise is made on a shoestring budget and like has like boring levels and like a stupid story. But like when I fought the final boss in Stranger of Paradise, I died like 10 times and I had to fight my ass off to beat it.
The challenge was appropriate and they kept it balanced.
And I was interacting with the game the way the game wanted me to play it the whole way through. Same thing with FF7R, right? Like, the optional bosses in that game were pretty tough. And in the Intergrade DLC, like, I died a bunch to the final boss. And I was trying to work my way through the mechanics. And I was engaging with the way the game worked up until the final moment. The final boss of Final Fantasy 16, I was popping his stagger bar and then bursting him down to the next phase. And then the next phase came out, and I would just pop him down to his stagger bar and burst him down to the next phase. Ad nauseum, and I'm like, I'm not playing the game that I was playing at the beginning. You know when you play Devil May Cry and the mission 1, 2, and 3, Wooly, is like my move set's limited, but like I'm trying to learn it. But then mission 20, Wooly, is like fucking all over the place and trick, sword, guard, Nero, burst, exceed, etc. The game increases in complexity, 16, increases in gameplay complexity until about the halfway mark, and then it starts to decrease in gameplay complexity.
And that's where like, so the inherent solution of like, again, we talked about how to make things harder and stuff. And the other way to go with it is to go like, let's say you don't make things harder. You can always have it be like, all right, well, hey, gamer, try to triple S this boss fight. Try to, obviously no items, don't orbit. Do things that are more restrictive but still like challenging to you. Or if you're or whatever, like Souls boss, no sips, right? Do whatever. You're still gonna have a fight, and you're gonna have to dance and move around with perfection, and it'll be. And you engaging with the system, and you've clearly gotten better than the challenge, but none of this applies when like there is a button equals life bar deleted equals next cutscene, right? That's a different thing.
The most fun I had in this whole game was the Phoenix challenge, where you have to fight a huge group of enemies using just Phoenix abilities, and you're running on a timer. And you get extra time if you do cool shit that is unique to the Phoenix icon.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So like you'll do like, so Phoenix is the only one that can do like juggle somebody and then teleport to them and then magic burst them and then magic burst them again and then dash them and magic burst them again. Right? So you get a time bonus
do that
if you
do that shit. Yeah.
Because that's really cool and only Phoenix could do that. And they all have that. But the Phoenix one was my favorite by far because it took me like 2 hours and it turned my PlayStation off. It overheated. Because I did it the second it unlocked. And so I was the right level for it. I was the actual level that it wanted to. And then when I did like the Bahamut or Odin ones, like later in the game, I was max level. I was like 10 levels above the enemies, and like I was killing them so fast the time didn't matter anymore. And I'm like, well, fuck, no, I want that. I want that. Like this game, I wish it had the fucking level lock from Xenoblade.
The cap off, right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely take that into account, and I'll go back and I'll see what we're looking at with these side quests. But God forbid that we were to miss any sweet racism that could be content in those side quests. You know.
Okay. I'm gonna
so
right now.
we're you know, got to be careful
right now.
We got to bread and butter this thing.
There are 2 side quests. When you go to Racism Town, you'll know which one I'm talking about. And everyone in chat will let you know that are actually fucking awesome.
A lot of people are very excited, so I already know that it's Moore. Someplace called Moore is very racist. That's all.
There's some good racism in those side quests.
Yeah, okay.
There's some good racism there.
Yep.
Some of the best racism I've seen in a game.
Okay.
I was very happy.
Well,
when I encountered it,
can't make those challenges easier.
That's
gonna stay hard.
when I got to Moore, and I was chatting about it, and so remember we had Gene on the podcast. The stream that I got to Moore is when I looked to the chat and I'm like, this is why there are no people of color in this game, because this would be over the fucking line. This would be on the news.
Use your ult ability to fix that problem, Clive.
You can't. That's that. You know, it's funny. That's actually kind of a theme of the game, where Clyde's becoming like Superman, essentially. It's like, just fix it, Superman. He's like, I fucking can't, dude. People are so awful. They're crap.
Yeah. So there we go. That'll continue. And you know, interestingly, oh well, is that you wanted to talk about the mechanical things post game, right? Like that was pretty much it.
Yeah, no, I'm like one shot cycling like final boss and not getting to see it, and like that's really upsetting. Also, if it's time for final shot for minor nitpicks, the accessories they give you are all capped out at 10% increases on your stats, and it's boring as fuck. Like you'll get a fucking item that's like reduces the cooldown of this move by 1.9 seconds, and you're like, dude, fuck yourself.
Nothing
Stop
crazy and major. Not that it's needed, but the feeling, of course, yeah.
So there's one thing that's crazy and major, and it makes a big difference, but you're already so fucking godlike by that point.
But I was going to say, like, doesn't sound like anything, you don't need anything to be 10% stronger anyway.
It's just like,
yeah.
I might as well have equipped the assist buttons that auto torgle.
No, I get, like, there's a feeling that comes with, this thing does 200% damage now? Whoa. Because then you go, now I have to stop and think about making a build based on that, you know?
If me, like, one cycling the final boss was a result of me building my accessories into some bullshit, I'd be a lot more forgiving.
Ah, okay. Like, fucking float the party into the air and quake the ground with your blue mage.
Yeah,
type
like
shit.
If I had like busted it open, I'd be like, okay, yeah, no, I might have overdone it.
If you have
but
to
instead, I was just doing what the game told me to do.
If you have to turn Clive into a Kappa and then do a fucking Dragoon drop to get maximum damage, fine, right? Yeah, okay. I hear you.
But you never get that way. And I was talking to some people in Final Fantasy mode, despite being ostensibly more difficult because everybody does more damage and whatnot. You're walking into that mode with New Game Plus Clive, which can't be stopped. Like, Clive is so unstoppable by the end of the game. Like, I look at the enemy cast and I'm like, I don't think there's anything you could do or give this enemy cast that would stop Clive from being just as unstoppable, because he's killing most of you in the stop time anyway.
Yeah.
So how much damage your hits do doesn't matter.
I said it last week, but it's like you could just drop a blitz in there if you want and just can't touch me, can't touch me, can't touch. Hey, yeah. So anyway, I guess piggybacking off of FF16, we play Double Dragon Gaiden, Return of the Dragon, and it's a Double Dragon game. Had a lot of fun. I appreciate that beat 'em ups that are being made in this day and age are all aware that we need to have fun juggling, like combo video making ability between both characters, and making your characters extend their shit into wall bounces and all kinds of tech is really, really fun. And I like the idea of, when you look at a beat 'em up, you go back to something in its purest form here, where you walk to the right and you punch whatever's coming at you. And every one of those enemies can be dealt in the exact same way, which is do the combo on the thing and you can press punch, knock them down, and then go do it again. But if you're not yourself introducing different moves, different types of style to the situation, you're not going to maximize your enjoyment out of these games, Furthermore, the ability to switch between two characters at the same time allows you to go even further with it and stuff. So it's it's interesting in that, like, in these games too, like, there is by default not much of a challenge, but you introduce it by trying to have more fun. And that sounds a bit kind of like what we were just discussing, And then with that, you go, I'm like, oh, well, I'm super down to have more fun here. Let's fuck around with each of these characters, and in between stages, you get different abilities and stuff. So, yeah, I did a little sponsored stream for that, and we're going to take a look at it again with the when it's closer to release. I think there's a lot of playable characters you can play as, like, pretty much all the bosses in it and stuff. So, anyway, whatever, take my sponsored opinion with whatever grains of salt you would.
Well, Wooly, I love your sponsored opinions. They're just like my sponsored opinions.
Yeah, and so it's funny to, like, look at FF16 and kind of see this, like, almost like it's almost like you'd be describing the moves that should do damage in a beat 'em up to you while to cast them, except they're not, in a way, but here, by paying more attention to how many enemies you're comboing at a time, and, like, when you're about to kill them, you can keep your health up, because killing 3 enemies at the same time nets you a street meat.
Fantastic.
So you have
street meat.
Yeah, so you get you have a guaranteed mechanic for healing your character based on being more careful about how you combo things and being more precise about things, Furthermore, you get extra bonuses for killing the boss with a special move, and then that lets you upgrade your character in between rounds and stuff. So overall, pretty cool. And, like, if you had fun, like, with the combo system and, like, River City Girls and stuff, like, this is fairly simplified because it's harkening back to the older Double Dragons by comparison to the amount of crazy shit you can do in River City, but still a pretty enjoyable time. And it always feels fun to, like, one like Jimmy OTGs, and then Billy does a Tatsu, and then you air grab, and you're doing essentially like a fucking Marvel aerial rave, but you're going back and forth on the same enemy for as long as the system will let you until someone drops it, because you both have to keep the rhythm up. That's something that is like, classic beat 'em ups are they're going the way of the dinosaur, and understandably so. They were quarter munchers, and a lot of people are kind of
I feel like beat 'em ups have gone the way of the dinosaur like 5 different times.
I know, but the thing is that they'll always continue to exist and be made by people who want to see them exist. But I mean, the views on the fucking thing are clear that most people don't want to sit and watch a Double Dragon video. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, though, I'm just like, I always appreciate this for it being a one-player fucking fighting game in the way of its inception. And it's the originator of the combo video shit we love, all our combo mad crazy games, like the side scrolling punch 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 was how that came to be, and like I think it's obvious, like you evolve the challenge with shit like God Hand coming in and remixing the entirety of what it means to fucking run through a level and beat up the groups.
We'll never have God Hand again. There'll never be God Hand once more.
No, but instead, Final Fantasy will become a child of God Hand.
I'm narrowing my eyes at you. What?
Final Fantasy, the title, the titular RPG series, will become a character action game, of which most character action games are children of what God Hand fucking created with a lot of that stuff.
God Hand came out after Devil May Cry, man. You're insane. You're off your shit. You've lost your mind. What are you talking about? There has never been less connective tissue between two things you have mentioned.
God Hand came out in 2006. I'm super wrong. Okay. Excuse me. I'm super wrong.
Did you think God Hand invented character action for his stuff?
I thought God Hand was really early on. I thought God Hand was really early on the timeline.
DMC 3, bro.
I completely that's a complete fuck up. I thought God Hand was really early on the action game timeline. We were in
fucking high school when Devil May Cry came out.
My mistake. I'm sorry. I got my timeline fucked up. All right. Fair enough.
If anything, Final Fantasy 16 is like the child of Kingdom Hearts. Now. It plays more like Kingdom Hearts
as the Square Enix action game. Okay.
No, but like it feels more like Kingdom Hearts. Also, if you want to play Final Fantasy 16, but with a system that will actually really push you, Kingdom Hearts 2 is still the best of that genre.
God Hand
of that loose character action game. It's KH2 is the best one.
God Hand's. I didn't play God Hand on release. I only found out about it later.
You know why? You know why you thought it was early? Because the game's so goddamn ugly.
But, I mean, it looks like it could have come from before.
It looks like a PlayStation 2 launch game. It looks fucking ugly as hell.
No, but I also, like when we would talk about, like, Dante's Awakening and all those things and Shmup God Pat and stuff, we would always talk about character action and all that shit. I only discovered God Hand, like, later down the line, and I thought it had come way before, and I had missed out on it. I didn't realize it came way after all that,
Oh, it was like after RE4. Shinji Mikami's like, what if I made RE4 but punching?
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of tying it to, like, when we started talking about it mentally, as opposed to the actual timeline there. Well, fuck.
The absolute vividness of everything that was wrong with Clover was Okami and God Hand coming out near simultaneous. Be like, this might be the ugliest game I've ever enjoyed, and oh my god, the gameplay is incredible, versus this is the best looking game I've ever seen, and it plays kind of okay, I guess.
So then,
I drew a picture with my tail.
yeah, let me just take a quick second here to see, because Shinji, right? Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm just looking at the Shinji Mikami. Because he basically, excuse me, like did that and obviously went on to make a bunch of shit that was nothing like God Hand after the fact, and
no one will ever make
there is no
like God
hint
Hand
that you will ever see
again.
anything like that ever again. Yeah, there's zero hint of any of that ever coming back into existence. And
the closest thing to a child of God Hand that's ever existed is the fucking alpha version of RE5 that we saw one trailer of. And that's it.
Yep. No attempt to salvage nothing. I was wrong. I was super incorrect. I fucked up and made a mistake. I did not know the correct timeline on that, and that's exposed. There's nothing to say. I'm wrong.
Sifu is
completely wrong.
The closest thing. Somebody said Sifu, and they're right, but that's also Arkham.
What I am looking at when I see this list is I see other notable works include Dino Crisis, which has been getting discussed quite a bit this week as a result of Exoprimal dropping.
I think Susie's review of Exoprimal is like as fair as anyone could be, where she's like, yeah, it's cool and it's fun, but who the fuck asked for this? I want Dino Crisis. Give Dino Crisis to me now. And I have to say, I echo her sentiments.
It is
I'm not even gonna pretend I can look at Exoprimal with anything other than objective scorn.
Capcom should not fuck with dinosaurs until they bring Dino Crisis back specifically. You're not allowed to ever use one.
Well, it would be a lot less like offensive if they didn't put a character that looked identical to the main character of Dino Crisis in that game, but then it was not that character.
Oh, is there like a redhead?
Oh, you haven't seen it? There's a redhead that looks exactly like Regina in it. She hangs out in your little dinosaur base and is not Regina. It's fucking weird.
In an alternate reality where this was called Dino Crisis, but it played nothing like it, a number of people would be like, why the fuck didn't they just make Dino Crisis instead of making this other thing?
There's no win here.
There's no win.
Like, if this was Dino Crisis, but it was Exoprimal, it was just Dino Crisis, I'd be like, why the fuck they make this?
Why would you even bother? Yeah, why tie it in? Why would you Dinosaur Planet Star Fox Adventures this game?
Yeah.
You know? So there really isn't a win in that either.
Wait a second. I have an idea. What if they had instead made a Dino Crisis game?
Right.
That would have been a cool idea. That's what I think would be a cool idea to do.
Well, anyway,
I will not be covering Exoprimal on the Pat Stares At channel.
Not much else. Still going through World Tour, and yeah, did a slop stream, so that'll be coming.
Susie just appeared out of nowhere to send me an image to send you this fake ass Regina screenshot.
Oh wow, there's a redhead. Her name's not like Jarina or anything, is it?
No, okay. No, I don't know what it is, but it's not.
All right. Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna continue with FF16 and World Tour, and this Saturday, not gonna have a stream because we're gonna catch fucking the Fantasia's airing Shin Kamen Rider. So
ooh.
Gonna go fucking watch that in the theater. That should be fun. But
Well, that sounds fun.
Wooly versus the algorithm for what we're up to.
Oh yeah, I'm playing a bunch of stupid bullshit this week on my channel. That's over at twitch.tv/Pat stares at. Tonight I'm gonna be doing a React stream, and then tomorrow I'm gonna be doing so Baldur's Gate 3 is like shit hot. Everybody excited. So I'm like, okay, people have asked. I'm gonna go and show people what it's actually like to make a fucking character in Baldur's Gate 1. To either empower the freaks that want to do it or scare away the remainder.
Yeah, people have been like, I mean, I guess I get the part where you mentioned like, oh, go check it out in advance just so that you know what you're getting into. I was like, okay, I'll do that. And then there's like, have you thought about? I'm like, no, I'm not. When it's, I'll open it when it comes and I'll take a look, but I'm not giving any amount of heavy pre-thought to a brand new thing that's a brand new experience for me. I'll just hit it and see what it's about. You know, I'm sure the play styles will be very, very different according to whether I play a paladin or this or that. But I'm hoping the game will do a good job of introducing all that to me when I'm staring at it on the menu. You know,
you're crazy. You're gonna have decision.
Playing it like a video game is crazy. Just buying, like, booting it up and playing it like most people are gonna do. Like, you know, I'll just let it rock. Besides,
yes.
Right? I'm not gonna get.
I'm gonna put my foot in the sand on this one. Because Baldur's Gate 3 does not want you to play it like a video game. It wants you to play it like Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
And at Dungeons and Dragons, you don't sit down at the table and go, okay, let me get out the player's guide and think about what I want to make while everyone around you is sitting around waiting. No, you show up with your character.
But everyone's already concerned about me being concerned about trying to see and do everything. And I know that it's not that kind of thing. So I'm just going to let it rock in the entire sense of the word. Whatever decisions we happen to make, whatever I find, whatever I don't, what I go with, how I roll is just going to be what it is.
Bro, I'm going to tune into that fucking stream.
You know?
You know it.
It's the same thing on the other side. Like, to put all the concern before the build, and then afterwards to be like, and then just let it roll and you'll plinko into whatever and don't be overthinking that. Then, like, fine, I won't overthink the entire thing then. I'm gonna just experience the game.
I am gonna fucking go. I'm gonna be on that stream. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be like in the chat. And you're going to be on character select, and whatever you pick, I'm going to scream, pick the other one. I'm just going to do it the whole time.
Yeah.
No, don't pick gnome! They're racial bonus! Ah! I'm going to do it.
No, it's not that game. You should overthink here. Oh god.
That was fun.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, pick one. Do you want me to be concerned about my decisions, or do you want me to just roll, you know? I'll say this. I've played D&D campaigns on paper where I've been very concerned, and like I've played campaigns where I've been super fucking laissez-faire and just roll with it, and I've had way more fun with the latter.
Yeah, the main thing, the biggest thing is that like, I mean, on pen and paper, you've got like a human being with you that's like, don't worry about that fireball. You guys survived.
Here's what pen and paper though does is the realm of imagination, and the DM kind of can decide how to make a scenario play out according to who's sitting there and what they think would be right for the moment. What isn't good, I suppose, is when a description tells you something and gets your brain going in one direction, but then in actuality, what's behind that is something else. You know, like if you see something on the surface, but there's lies, you know, in what that means in the video game, then it's like, well, then I just... You know, I guess I can't trust the descriptions at that point. Providing that you can. Should be all
From
right.
my personal experience with Baldur's Gate 3, when the game is lying to you, it's lying to you on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing here on this fucking wall. Not a single thing. You're too stupid to notice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're a dumb idiot. Can't even see the hidden wall here.
Yep.
Dude, I replayed. I fucked around in the early access last night. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll play around. I'll just fuck with the tutorial. And like, I couldn't remember how to get somebody out of a cage. I'm like, this game's reactive, right? I know what I'll do. I'll pour some. I'll break this barrel, and then there'll be flammable liquid next to the cage, and then I'll throw a firebomb on it, and then the cage will spring open. And then I did that, and the party member just exploded out of it on fire and died. And I'm like, well, it did something. It did react. It did react to what I was doing.
A lot of people currently and before were yelling about Monk. Is that the only way to do hand-to-hand?
It's the only good way to do hand-to-hand.
Oh, what other choices are there?
Everyone else but badly.
Okay.
That, like, yeah, no, you could have your fucking barbarian or wizard throw a punch. You could technically roll a druid, but that's not really hand-to-hand. That's more like jaguar to person. Right? That's not, you know?
Okay. Yeah. I'm like, I can think of like traditional like D&D roles, but I also can think of when someone introduces a twist in the works, or an option that I otherwise wouldn't consider, like I don't think I've ever played like a necromancer in anything, and that's a cool way to fight that on paper sounds like a rad option to go about it, or almost like, I didn't think about what throwing lightning would be like until I saw DS2 when it had that fucking pew, and I was like, that looks super cool.
That's your Zeus style lightning bolt,
and
right?
But I never thought about that, and then I saw that and went, that's awesome, I'd love to do that, and then it turned out to be busted and like a way to...
They never fixed that. You know that? They
But
never went back and fixed that?
Well, didn't the Scholar of the First Scene just change it entirely or whatever? But...
No, it's still bad.
Okay. Well,
it's still bad.
But all this to say that, like, if I'm like, yeah, I obviously like the things I like, and everybody knows me, I like my hand-to-hand combat and whatever. But I'm like, if someone introduces something that also sounds cool, that's different and interesting, I might go that way too. I don't know. Just sell me on it. Let me walk into the shop, look around, and be like, ooh, what's that? Take me for a ride in that Acura, and tap it on the back and tell me how fast it can go. I don't know.
I want to play Baldur's Gate 3. I feel bad for Final Fantasy 16 because like I was watching like a really dramatic scene, and like drama was happening, and like my brain was just like the hamster wheel was spinning, and what the hamster wheel said was like, do you want to roll like a devotion paladin or like a vengeance paladin? Yeah, Clive. Yeah, but no, I'm thinking about smite bonuses here. Like, it's just completely hijacked my brain entirely.
Yeah. What else was going on while you were thinking about your Baldur's Gate classes?
Nothing.
Is that what we call it now? Nothing?
Fuck off. All right, moving on.
All right. Well, anyway, that's pretty much weeks. So.
All right. You mind if we take a quick break?
BRB.
I'm gonna go check the mail.
right. Let's take a quick word from our sponsor.
I love our sponsors. They're my favorite sponsors.
All right. Today's episode is sponsored by PayPal Honey, the easy way to save when you're shopping on your phone or your computer.
I have those things and I shop on them.
Yes, you can shop on your devices, and doing so often leads you to the online cart. And in the online cart, you've got the area that says promo codes, and then you ignore it.
You put nothing because you don't know. You don't know nothing.
You don't know how to make money. You don't know how to get the money back. You don't know how to get deals. But honey,
Ben Franklin created America to save money, and you're spitting on his electrified corpse by not using a promo code.
yeah, right?
Yeah, that works. It works. I thought about it.
His son too. His son's electrified corpse.
Yeah, both of them. Unpatriotic to not fill that promo code.
You really what you need is you need something like Honey to basically be there to get you the deals that you've been held back from, because really coupons to save on whatever you're buying, there's no downside to it. So yeah, basically I've used it to get myself some Newegg tech, and I've watched the simplicity of using that on desktop or on my phone, and I
need things simple. I've filled my head up with too many video games. I don't have any room for adult things. I need to help.
Yeah. Basically, you are able to click the apply coupons button at the cart, and then it'll search for anything it can find, and then you'll watch the prices drop just like that. Pretty simple, straightforward, saves you money. Doesn't just work on desktop, but again, on your phone too. You can activate it on Safari on your iPhones. So allow me to specify and clarify. Getting Honey seriously only takes a few seconds, and getting it, you're doing yourself a solid, and you're supporting the show. You can get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/superbeast. That's joinhoney.com/superbeast. Thanks, Honey.
Thank you, Honey.
Hot off the presses, breaking news.
Break these news.
As of pretty much right now, they just announced a new For Honor character, the Ocelotl.
What?
Which is an Aztec warrior.
Wow.
And
what's its special ability? Does it have the special ability to make me care about For Honor again?
I hope that this Aztec warrior will not eat shit like all the rest of the fighting game Aztec warriors have throughout time, with perhaps the exception of the War Gods man, who ate shit by simply existing inside of War Gods. No, I hope that we can get it for real this time. Yeah, they just announced it, and it's dude sharpening his blade, and it sounds like you can hear the Aztec death whistle in the background while he's doing his crazy prayer, and that's pretty sick. Because I don't know if you've ever heard that thing being blown, but well, clearly not. Your life would be forfeit if you had.
Do you know why? Do you know why Aztecs get it bad in fighting games, Wooly?
Because they're cool.
Because they mainly no longer exist, so there's nobody to get mad about it.
Because the Conquistador character like beats them 10-0. Man. The death whistle is one of those rad little relics where it's like you blow it and it just sounds like a ton of people screaming in agony from a distance. And
that's not a good one. I don't like that.
And basically, like, when they used to have multiple people blowing these things as they came through to fuck you up, you heard the sound of death coming, you know? I have hope because I always love the theme. I always love the Aztec fighter. It's such a dope thing, and maybe this time they won't end up jobbing in a wheelchair or otherwise jobbing to literally nothing as the cast just moves on without them. We'll see. We'll see. You know,
I don't.
I mean, look, it's like, okay, so fighting games have not been good to like Aztec Warriors, but JoJo had some cool fucking...
That's true.
JoJo did some cool shit.
Those people weren't human, though.
No, I suppose not.
Fighting games have not been extra kind to, like, the entirety of South America?
No, I mean, well, oh, god damn it, yeah.
Yeah, like, no, what, but,
Like, yeah. I think Blanca's having fun. He's
Ogre. Ogre's cool.
But true ogre is also fucking jobbing
cool.
to ogre, so that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the issue. When I say jobbing the Aztec Warriors, I also mean, and this counts Aztec and any Mesoamerican fighters, but like I count ogre in that list, you know, because he immediately goes into a worse, uncooler form that becomes the canon one, you know. If they wanted to, and ogre with the wings and the demon and all that shit kind of like mirrors the whole demon, that the devil gene shit and Jin and on Kazuya and all that. And it's like, well, it's not like they would have had these Japanese men power up into their Aztec warrior form like anytime soon in Tekken. So, yeah. But I was gonna say yeah, Blanca's doing all right. He just got like scammed on the amount of Blanca-chan dolls, and
He got scammed.
And Eddie
Flooded
Gordo,
the market.
Eddie Gordo was doing okay until fucking Josie, not Josie. What's her stupid name? Fucking
Isn't
whatever.
her name Josie?
No, Josie's the other one. She's fine.
What? Fucking Jackie? What's
Blanca,
her name?
Eddie Gordo's cool, but then he became a backup
Christy.
dancer for Lucky Chloe. That's the problem.
Christy, yeah.
Christy Montiero's fine. I have no problem with Christy Montiero.
Did she also become a backup dancer for Lucky Chloe?
I don't think so, but Lucky Chloe is the problem in that Lucky Chloe forces the original capoeirista to become a fucking nothing.
Now that Eddie Gordo has been relegated to the backup dancer for an idol, how long is it before we see Eddie Gordo on TikTok live going, ice cream so good, gang gang, ice cream so good.
Thank you.
How long?
Thank you. Hey, yum.
Reading Gene's article on him like donating a lightning bolt to one of those people and having them like scream out a weird moan in the middle of the Washington Post newsroom while he's trying to turn the sound down is like one of the hardest things I've laughed. I've laughed so fucking hard. Just imagine going, I'm working. It's a social media thing. It's work.
Seeing this new whatever NPC core, whatever's going on with that thing, like, is the fastest I've gone from what is this to, you know what? No, it's exactly what it is. I've stopped trying to parse the how we got here and why thing, because all you need to understand is bite-sized attention economy and ASMR and earworms are all that matter. It doesn't matter what's happening. It doesn't matter how random it is. If anything, Elsa Gage proved that making weird shit to click on will result in people clicking on it, and that's all that matters. So anytime some people on TikTok are doing something very quickly that just has you locked into staring at this, and it's doing something weird, but people might linger on it because it's weird, It's like, yeah, that's why it exists, and there's no other explanation for it.
I think the funniest thing about that the girl that really blew up is she's from Montreal.
Oh wow!
And, she took time out of Gang Gang and Ice Cream.
That's
So
why
Good.
she went angry. She got angry in French that one time.
I saw that. She took time out to like rant about how fucking shit Montreal is for supporting creators and how Montrealers don't want to see Montrealers succeed. I'm just sitting here going, yeah, it's true. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's just I suspect. And I know that from here on out, we're just going to come across like something completely batshit insane in the first 5 seconds, and you're going to linger on it, and we got your attention. That's all that matters.
Now I'm hooked.
That's it.
I'm hooked on this attention economy.
Come up with the weird new thing.
Yeah, this is why, like, yesterday the day before on stream, when me and Paige were playing L.A. Noire, I invented a farcical non-story about me breastfeeding rats.
There you go.
Because,
Yep.
Gets those eyeballs on.
Mm-hmm. The trick is to do a completely random nonsense while being attractive, though. It's a very important part of it.
I'm doing my best, man. Oh, fuck.
That was very sincere.
I thought it was pretty good. Thank you.
Okay. You know what else is sincere?
What's that?
The binding agreement that Microsoft and Sony have signed to keep the Call of Duty series on PlayStation following the Activision Blizzard acquisition.
Yeah, so that merger's going to go through.
Mm-hmm.
This, I feel like, I mean, obviously the nerds have to make the legal agreements to make everything go good, but like, Call of Duty sells way more on PlayStation than it does on Xbox. Like, it would be stupid. It would be for Microsoft to make that exclusive on the Xbox. That'd be a dumb fucking thing to do.
Money on the table. Yeah, the 10-year deal, however, this has come up and there's been referencing some of the emails that came out and stuff, but the 10-year deal for Call of Duty is limited just to Call of Duty. So a lot of that stuff that they were talking about, because there's that email from Phil Spencer to Jim Ryan about keeping the freedom of whatever, yada yada yada, CEO freedom speak, but that is going to just be a Call of Duty thing, which means that like any other franchise that would be under the Activision umbrella can basically now be considered exclusive and removed off the Sony thing. So as Gene tweeted out,
sorry everyone,
no more Tony Hawk or Crash Bandicoot on PlayStation.
Oh no!
Possibly.
Yeah, this merger to most people is actually going to result in nothing but long term everything becoming worse overall.
I mean, it's like that is a exhaustive list of franchises and IPs that you can probably just write off at this point. And there's the other thing too, is like, you have to consider if a game popped up that like might have had enough groundswell for a sequel or something new to come out, where they'd be like, yeah, if we're just going to be stuck here, maybe we're not going to prioritize that since there's a limitation to what we are willing to throw money at. Let's just get the surefire things going and push those exclusives. And, you know, you're not going to see as many risky propositions because they can't make it back across multiple platforms.
You're right, Wooly. This merger is definitely going to put a kibosh on Activision Blizzard's very risky independent games.
Risky independent games, yes.
Yeah, you're right.
No,
I was really excited for the next Tony Hawk and... Dude, there was a Crash Bandicoot game that came out last week that we talked about for 5 seconds, and we didn't even know what it was.
Where is that fucking list? God damn it. There was a really good picture of, like, here's the giant list of companies.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Microsoft owns a bunch now, and what they do is they buy the company, and then the company stops making games, and then the company disintegrates.
Yeah.
That's a good business plan. That's my favorite business plan.
Well, anyway, there will be existing Activision console titles on Sony, including future versions of current games until the end of 2027. And then I guess after that, that's going to be it. Cool. Good.
You know what's really funny? So I'm thinking about Microsoft, right? And there's this very bizarre child's console war thing happening right now, where because Starfield and Baldur's Gate are coming out the same day but on opposing platforms, the man children are like, Xbox, Starfield, for that nonsense. So the only reason that Baldur's Gate isn't coming out on Xbox is because the Series S can't handle the split screen.
Yeah, I think that came up the last time we talked about it.
Like Microsoft is sending them engineers and like, yeah, you got to make it work. And Larian's like, I don't think it's gonna fucking work on this SKU, man. It's probably not gonna work. And they're holding up the game's release on like all platforms, like all the Xboxes as a result. Like that thing would run no problem on the Series X, but
this fucking weird thing of like not just there's always been the multiple SKU holdback plus the like hard drive size limitation holdback on some games.
Yeah, Microsoft keeps doing it over and over.
What the
I don't
fuck,
get it,
man.
I don't get it.
Yeah, here we go. Okay.
Somebody posted the photo. That's a big graph.
Okay, so there's the giant graph, where you see the full pizza.
Wow, Ubisoft has like a million Ubisofts and then ketchup. Ketchup.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
It's insane. But like when you look at, so Xbox plus Activision Blizzard King equals, and this is where it's like it's not risky games, it's literally just, is there a game released by these studios that you'd like to see a sequel to sometime soon, maybe? Treyarch, Raven, High Noon, Beanox, Ninja Theory, 343 Worlds Edge, Compulsion, Playground, Obsidian, ZeniMax, Bethesda, Arcane, Tango, etc., 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 right? It rares in there obviously as well. Like you just kind of go down this list and you're like, oh yeah, Tango just put out
games.
No, no. But I mean, Tango just put out Hi-Fi Rush, right? Like, I don't know if a game like Hi-Fi Rush gets the same possible momentum to release in this type of post-ownership environment. I don't know, So that's exactly the type of title I'm referring to. It's not like indie, but it's a weird little thing.
So like, I really do mean it in that like Microsoft buys studios and then like the studio puts out like the one game and then they just stop making games and then the company disintegrates. Combining that with Blizzard that takes like 10 years to release a game seems like a good way to just like never see another Blizzard game release until we die ever again. And maybe that's fine.
Well, I mean, they're going to reach in and they're going to go, yo, make a Skylanders. What are you doing? They're going to reach into that pool and pull out some shit that, makes the regular revenue. But yeah. How many graves will be planted as a result of this,
many. Oh, very many.
Anyway. So there was a couple of announcements. Okay, well we'll get to the big limited run showcase, but just before that, I suppose, also starting this morning, they announced they showed off some more Rashid stuff for Street Fighter 6.
Rashid has a lot of stuff.
Rashid has a lot of stuff.
Has so much stuff They're changing Street Fighter 6's controls to accommodate him.
I don't think that's true. I'm gonna call bullshit. Press X to doubt.
It just the timing makes it look that way.
Sadly, there's no Rashido theme, and that's my big bummer. Is, man, you had a banger that everyone loved, certified fucking classic, and you didn't.
Everybody loved it.
You didn't carry through on that momentum. What are you doing, guys? Like, the lyric theme song thing, like, it happened before, but it didn't catch on as well, because Crimson Viper had a lyric theme song too. I thought it was pretty all right, but the Rashid theme is like such a heroic, fun thing to sing along with, and I don't know why they just didn't catch on to that and prioritize it. It's bigger than the character himself, you know? Anyway, whatever. You get a big quality of life change they announced, where now, after pressing a cancelable normal, you can press the parry button, or medium and punch and medium kick together, to get a drive parry drive rush out of it instantly. And the discourse, I was taking a look, and I saw some people were kind of like what was wrong with it before, because you tap forward generally, and I saw that change, and it's just basically you hit that button, and you'll get the drive rush out of your button. Now, it immediately made me think, oh, well, charge characters are going to get stronger because they don't have to let go of back in order to drive rush forward after pressing a button now. But a follow-up tweet said that's not true. You're going to have to go to neutral or forward, so you can't just get it while holding back. So nothing changes about what you couldn't do before, right?
I think like instituting a button press thing that would turn like Guile into the hot, like automatically into like the strongest third strike Urian players by making charge partitioning a total non-factor would be wildly extreme. I'm glad they decided to go, no, you can't hold back. No, I mean, you can't hold back.
Charge partitions are already in the game, and some of the max damage combos involve charging back, going to neutral, doing neutral buttons, and then going forward while the buffer still allows you to.
Being able to hold back during the drive, like, come on.
But I don't think any of this is. I think I'm 90% sure that what this is an accessibility thing, because modern controls isn't just for getting new people who don't know fighting game inputs to like do them easier. It's also for people who have disabilities to be able to do them without as much trouble and as many barriers in the way. And when you look at how modern inputs work on every other system mechanic level, they're all able to be input with buttons simply. So the drive rush cancel out of a normal was the only thing where you still needed to have fast wrist dexterity to tap forward after pressing a button. And I think this was a way of making it so that people who didn't have that fast wrist dexterity can do so in the accessibility window, you know?
There's situations that I would actually much prefer this. Like crouching normals. I would much prefer to tap medium off of like low medium punch than dash out of it.
Oh, this applies to modern and classic. And yes, I completely agree, because I'm like, oh, well, it's probably mainly for the accessibility, but it's a nice little cherry on top for everybody else who wants to buffer in wish punishes, as we call them, right? So there's whiff punishing, and then there's wish punishing, you know, where you're like, I'm hopeful that it'll work. Perfect example is when you want to clip a Dalsim limb. So a lot of the time when you're standing way back and Dalsim is throwing out limbs at you, you want to press a button and then mash forward while you're pressing it at the same time, so that if you miss, you just throw the button out and go back to standing there. But if you hit his limb, you instantly drive rush forward. And so this is a much less stressful way to do that, by just tapping 1-2 1-2, you know, while you are waiting to see if that limb's coming out. So yeah, it's going to make it quite a bit easier to confirm that stuff, and I think it's a great change. But it definitely strikes me as like an accessibility thing, you know. I'm thinking of players that play with their mouths, and play anyone that uses an adaptive controller with like custom sized buttons and stuff, where it's like the only system you had to be quick on the directions with was just that forward.
Was dashing out of normals.
That's it. Everything else was simple input. So yeah, good stuff.
Well, it's great. Glad to see it.
And smart that they made it neutral and forward only as well, because if you could charge back, then it would change characters and their balance too. So
I wonder if you can hold down. Probably not for the same thing with the charge stuff, huh?
As long It said in the tweet, it said neutral or forward.
Yeah, so you probably can't crouch and hold the crouch.
Probably not. Also, if I'm not mistaken, there's little things too that are treated differently. For example, if you go from we're getting granular, but if you parry from crouching state instead of from standing state, it costs a little bit more drive. And there's little things like that. Well, I mean, the difference between crouching and standing has been pronounced for a while. There's shit where you can punish blanka balls or headbutts from Honda standing, but you can't do it if you're crouching because your hitbox expands and so on, or hurtbox rather. But yeah, I think you're just going to have to let go or hold forward if you want to get this. But Rashid, we saw the spinning mixers, we saw the kick, we saw the Izar, we saw all of that wind nonsense, and you're going to get schmixed, man. Just listen. You're going to get schmixed. He's going to spend some bar. He's going to spend some meter. You're getting blown up at some point. Deal with it. Fight around it.
All the run shit almost makes me feel like they've just tucked a little bit of El Fuerte in there as well.
Well, Rashid was the run, though. Like Street Fighter V, Rashid was fucking crazy with how oppressive he could get, and taking you to the wall, and then again just angles on the dive kick, angles on the wall jump. So now we see he still can do some meterless stuff, yeah, but the double jump angles and all of that, like you're gonna get touched by it. You're absolutely gonna get touched. They had a little wild thing too, where now he can do his big tornado, but he can kick it at you faster as well. So he can run through it to speed himself up, or he can kick it towards you and then go crazy.
You know, it's funny because we had a whole conversation last week about Jamie's dive kick, right? And how Jamie's dive kick, you can use it to fake people out because, oh yeah, no, I made a really short jump or whatever. And I'm reminded of you describing how fucked up fake fireballs are, how good they are, right? And how fake, like, you know, DJ having a fake sonic boom, and shit like that. And then I'm watching Rashid's thing, and like, not only does he have the little wind kick that he can charge, and has a weird angle that's like really annoying, right? It's like it covers jump ins, and he also has like a dash, like follow up move.
Yeah.
That starts with a fake wind kick.
And then puts him... it makes him jump horizontally. He's dashing towards you, but he's in the air. And it's not like a Morrigan angle where he's going upwards. It's just a straightforward where he gets his aerial buttons.
Like, it's like, hi, it looked exactly like I was doing the little kick. But no, I'm actually sprinting at you at max speed. You
better learn the difference between the startup animations of what's going on, right? So you have to listen, like, so Chun-Li can do something to you. Chun-Li can, while you're in the corner, do her command stance, so she can go into her stance and then go into a spinning arm overhead, right?
Yeah.
Bop, right? And then you see that's her hand spinning, so you're like, oh, stand up, block it. What she can do is she can go into stance and then unstance. And the twist of her getting back up looks very similar to her about to do the overhead. But there's a slight difference in the animation where her hands are. And Reggie blew me up with that, and I'm like, I have to go look at those animations and see the difference between them. You know, you have to go and just be like, if you don't want to eat this, you have to see what it looks like and recognize it on start.
I spent every single JP match, but like the last 5, getting annihilated and just getting angrier and angrier and angrier until it finally clicked. My issue was that I could not tell the difference between his little phantoms.
Yep.
The strike ones and the throw one.
Oh.
I could not see it.
Yes.
And as a result, I would just get annihilated over and over and over. And then all of a sudden, and people would tell me, like, it's this different, he says something different.
There's cues.
And it's just not happening. And then all of a sudden, I started to internalize the fact that he says away.
He has away.
Like, I knew that.
Yes.
I knew that he did that, but I couldn't internalize it. And now I hear away, and I go, oh, okay, go at him.
It's not just that he says away, it's the way he says it. Because he says away when he's doing the cane as well. It's the way when he goes away, right? And then it's the startup, has a little bit of a linger. There's a little audio cue for you, and then the color is a little bit different as well, right? So you think of your Devil May Cry sound cues for attacks and things, you know, like sound cues may matter here. JP is a character who's easier to fight when you have your headphones on. Like, you just want to hear the noises he's making because, I was fighting a set with fucking Flux and just realizing like the difference in like. There's moments where you're looking at each thing he's doing, you're trying to learn his pattern, and you're like, after he does this, you are entitled to one step forward, nothing else, and you have to know that, unless another thing is in front of you, a departure is in front of you, in which case, hold your ground. But like when you block this, you get that, and when you jump this, you get that. Like, you have to know these little puzzle pieces and put them together, and the command grab is the interrupter to when we both know what's going on. And when I do see that, it's like, okay, I hop it, I get in, let's fuck you up, you know?
I just wanna onga JP.
I mean, like, you're playing Mr. Neutral Skip, but like JP
shout out to
I control it.
Shout out to Kinda Free, aka Eerie's, aka Den of Sin on YouTube, who sent me a video they made showing off that there are a bunch of characters that can't do anything about Jamie's sweep. Jamie's sweep at max distance. There are JP and Honda and a couple others. There's actually no button they can hit or special move they can do that will
punish it or take your turn. Okay, yeah. From the tip.
So, like, I was playing against JP, and if you hit JP with max range sweep, he can't do anything.
Fantastic knowledge. A lot of moves are really good at tip distance, you know. You want to Marissa hit him with the toe, a lot of things like that. Yeah, it changes how punishable it is and then of course, if you know that they're used to trying to counter this after they block it, and most of the time they can hit, but you hit it with the right distance, then you know what's going to come next, and then you implement the spacing trap, right? You're going to press a button, it's not going to hit me, I'm going to blow you up for it. But yeah, anyway, let's see what happens
Street
when
Fighter seems cool.
Fucking Rashid gets thrown into the goddamn mix. I'm accepting damage. I am accepting some cross-up damage. It is what it is.
I'm wondering how far I can get with Rashid played really badly. You know, like,
you can get.
Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but you don't know what I'm doing either.
Well, here's if you implement some very core basics, which you already would have at this point, which is like counter drive impacting anyone who drive impacts you, and someone who doesn't understand the value of jumping and not jumping can be air thrown forever. So as long as someone starts panicking and jumping, you can just use any character with an air throw, like fucking Rashid, who his air throw drags you forward as well. He skates on you and moves you towards the corner. It's super sick looking. The animation is beautiful on it.
Hey man, whatever I gotta do to avoid actually getting good. Whatever I gotta do.
I mean, listen, like if you're any grapple, like a Geef will skip neutral, but at the same time, a Jamie will force you to learn something or two about it, and then you can drive rush triple punch and call it a day. But yeah, there's always Honda if you feel like completely giving up.
I gotta learn Honda too. He's fun. He's also weirdly fantastic. This is the best Honda's ever been, right? Because he's fucking great.
He's just annoying as fuck. But like once again, it's just like if I know that you're running the brain cell, if I know that your entire game plan is headbutt, butt slam, and run in for a command grab every now and then, I have the answers, But it's just like it's gonna be like an eye roll of a match. But it's like, all right, do you got anything else? No. Well, we're just gonna do this the boring way then. They don't even need the slappy slaps. If they just want to do headbutts and butt slams, we can play that game. It's gonna be very boring. You're not gonna enjoy it. Pro tip: EX headbutt on wake up as a reversal is throwable on start.
I didn't really on start.
Yes. So if they think they can get out of trouble by doing their stupid EX headbutt, just throw the fucker. It's also minus.
What's with this annoyance? The Honda players are respectable. They're not Blanca players. The EX headbutt is not stupid. It's a fun move. People like it.
Yes, and it is the one of the most okay. I'll tell you. Have you seen the character ranking victory chart? The matchup.
Yes, and Honda's is weirdly the top at Master with a 58% win rate. That's sky high for Master.
Because Honda and his things, which everyone's got annoying things. Honda and his things are just particularly annoying to deal with in a way that minimizes risk unless you have character-specific actions in a lot of cases or amazing parry timing. And if you don't
say, jumping in on Honda is a really bad time.
Don't do it. Don't jump in on Honda. No. Try to get perfect parry timing down. But if you can't, you have to find something else. And for a lot of people, that part sucks. And Honda, will just hang back and do his thing, and you gotta know what to deal with. So yeah, throw that EX headbutt on startup, or if you block it, it's minus 1,000 million billion. You can do your taxes, finish them, and then punish him. Yeah, just you gotta be aware when you see one, and then if you see that they're not just doing those two things only, and they are putting a game plan together somewhat, then you're like, oh shit, okay, we got to play the match, I saw Susie tweeted a bit earlier, I'm so tired of Kens. And I was just like,
I can't escape them, dude. Every day. I play ranked every single day.
We all are, sister. It's just... It's because it's incredible how much he gets to do and how little it costs him to do it. And he's also just a fan favorite, If he was not that good, he would still be popular because he's Ken. But he happens to also be unbelievable. So the force of both of those things combined is just good luck, man. It's an army. Coming at ya!
I'm learning the Ken and Cammy and Jury matchups real well.
Yep. I think that's it though. I think like the whole Honda sort of frustration and the things you're going to feel are when it feels like there's only one or two tools that are being relied on. And it's if you play Blanca and you're just doing the ball, you're a fool because you're not using any of the amazing things he's been given. You should be doing way more than that. If you're not running the fucking the gif of a beautiful mind, at the very least, like, realize that there's a lot that people can be afraid of with that. But when it's just doskoi, doskoi, let's do it the slow way then. Anyway, that was your little Street Fighter 6 corner.
It's really funny to me that like Mike Ross is back to streaming and fighting game in it and whatnot, and he's like, "Don't talk to me about Honda," because he's so sick of Honda. And of course, this is the game in which Honda's the best he has ever been.
Honda came back fierce in 5 as well. It was just he came so late that most people didn't know.
Even know he was in the game.
Honda came back at the end of 5, and he was pretty fucking good.
Didn't know he was there.
Yeah. But that's what it is. That's what it is. And it's also like the legit Honda is. Like, that's a character. There's some shit there. He competes. He fucks around. Like, you gotta learn to play. But it's just 90% of the matches you're gonna have against him are against people who aren't necessarily gonna do that, and that's why that skew list is the way it is. You know, it is interesting to see like see the percentages of victories broken up by character, by rank. And then, like, the methodology is done with a 2% confidence interval.
It's also really weird because, like, all the numbers don't add up correct. They add up quite incorrect, in fact.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, because the percentage of wins here has to account for the wins it took to get to this rank.
Yeah. And then there's also like the fact that you're gonna have cross rank victories too, you know. Mm-hmm. Anyway, what else is going?
It's really interesting to me how I've been playing like a lot. I'm still stuck in platinum, and that's fine. I'm having a lot of fun matches, but like I'm plat 2 or 3, depending. Mm-hmm. And seeing the difference between people who are at plat 1 and plat 3 is like night and fucking day. Like these ranks have absolutely sorted themselves out. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's just, but it's always just averages though, right? Because
sure.
I in Diamond 3 is when they start introducing master into your
they're
fights.
willing to link you up with master opponents.
I did not see any master opponents at Diamond 2, but as soon as I hit 3, I that's where it's like, oh, okay, that's about the threshold. And it was interesting because like I beat 1, and the reward in points for beating master is like through the fucking roof, you know. And then losing to master again, it skews back down. But the fact that like there was one person who like this, that person who I fought who was in that category was like, oh, you don't necessarily feel like this, but it could just be matchup. It could just be, you know, a bunch of other factors. But the ranking is always as the Brian F video said, it's like your ranking is accurate to what you are, but what you are is going to be a mixture of all attack, all defense, all well-rounded, yada yada, you know.
The game told me after my placements that my DJ was Diamond 3.
Right.
And then I spent a good long while just earning my way back down to reality because my DJ is not Diamond. So I can just imagine people in Diamond being, oh, fucking DJ. Oh. And then they whooped my fucking ass. No problem. Like, oh, well, weird.
There are definitely matches where you hit somebody in like Diamond 1 or so and you're going like, okay, so you just got placed here. I can, within about a game, it's like, okay, yeah, I can see you just got placed here. And there's a huge difference there versus like, it's like, oh, no, okay, like you're at 2, you're doing some stuff. It's, you know, whatever's going on. Anyway.
Hey, I have one last thing to say about Street Fighter. I've been playing a lot of Street Fighter lately. And it says a lot about how much I've gotten back into Street Fighter. I didn't know that the FF14 relic weapons came out today.
Wow. How about that?
I was scrolling through my friend's Discord and someone put up a video of here's what they all look like. And I'm like, today?
The retirement home.
Weird.
The retirement home awaits. Uh-oh. Time to bust out of this joint. Fucking knock over the orderlies. Steal one of these vans and get back down to the tournament.
Mm-hmm. It's just so easy to sit down and play like 4 matches and then go back to doing something else.
It feels great. It feels great. Yeah. Right. So there was a limited run showcase that went on last week. Announced a bunch of stuff. Some cool things. I think Dungeons of Aether got showed off, which that came out a little earlier this year, but I think I forgot, or maybe we didn't talk about it. I didn't realize there was a spin-off dungeon crawler as well. Maybe we did, and I forget. But so Rivals of Aether, the platform fighter.
Oh, I did not know about this.
So Rivals of Aether then got the card game, which a lot of people praised. I forget what it was called. Is it just called Cards of Aether? I forget. Something. But big, I heard really good things about it. And then now they're bringing in the Dungeons of Aether as well, which is like, yeah, that's it's fun to see the Aetherverse getting some play. I think that's dope because, I mean, that game is the best of the Smash clones in my, like, it's so good. Creatures of Aether, there we go. Yeah, you got to give your flowers when they do it right, man. And it feels like they're doing it right, and the characters and the way they play are like really just, it feels like they're doing their own thing, really unique with the whole platform fighter bit. So I always loved Rivals of Aether for that.
I mean, this looks charming. I've less than 0 interest, but it looks cute.
I like the idea that, like, if they're going to jump into the cards, if they're going to jump into the platform fighting, they're going to do it really, really well. And if they're doing it with the dungeon RPG, hopefully the same thing. So, very cool there. They announced Jurassic Park Collection, which, you know, sure, there's no Trespasser on it, but you can get...
But what the fuck?
You can get The Lost World, which has the fully voiced Super Nintendo cartridge intro.
Is that the one that you play as Grant and a Velociraptor and a Compy?
No, that's the one where there's just a generic black and white soldier, and the whole engine must be eliminated. I will have control of Jurassic Park. As we speak, my men are on their way.
What game am I thinking of?
It was like one of the only SNES games that had like voice intro dialogue in a cutscene. And it was like fucking unheard of at the time, and everyone freaked out. Everyone being me.
Everyone being you, yes. I'm thinking of Jurassic Park for the Sega Genesis. Because of course I am. Long play is 31 minutes? I spent weeks on that. Oh, man.
JRPG equals JuRassic Park game.
That's good. I like that. That's good.
Good job, Curtis.
This Jurassic Park game for the Sega Genesis looks a hell of a lot worse than I remember it. Oh, no.
We love JRPGs. Yeah, they're never fucking... Trespasser's not going to get the time of day on that shit. Come on.
I would imagine that, like, actually getting Trespasser to run on a modern thing is just a nightmare in and of itself.
How about instead of Trespasser getting ported, you just port the Let's Play?
By Research Indicates?
Yes, and just put that on...
Yeah, that's a much better way to experience that game.
All right.
That's a much better way.
Okay. So they then announced RZ by a spiritual sequel to the CDI Zelda games, effectively. And you go check out the way it's animated and the cutscenes and the goofy shit going on, and it looks 100% as if it came from the same people.
And it's goofy as fuck.
And I think it has some of the same voice actors as well. So go take a look at that. It's kind of instantly doing the goof. Sounds fun.
How do I spell this?
ARZETTE.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's you know.
Oh my fucking god!
Like, if
you weren't kidding.
Yeah, and it's the same artist as well. Okay, awesome. Because like the thing of it is that like that's a very particular thing to reference that's different from just referencing a Super Nintendo platformer or a NES platformer. You know?
No, you're referencing fucking hot garbage.
CDI, man. So I respect the fucking like no, we're not just doing anything. We're doing this one that had like really high sound quality and really goofy voice acting, and the animation is MS Paint but with tons of frames. You know,
so weird.
It's kind of like when we talked about how a lot of stuff will reference low poly PlayStation 1, but nothing is
They
referencing.
reference the good stuff. They don't reference the bad stuff.
Nothing is referencing the awful triangles or the N64 shapes, right? Nobody goes back to that shit. Everyone goes back to
a single
the
game
idyllic
that I'm aware
cool
of.
ones.
I can't think of one game that has an N64 Vaseline filter as like a graphical option.
You know, whether it's like the Signalis style amazing cell shaded characters, or even just your Drift Stage style arcade vibe, no one's doing that era of goofy shaped characters and everything. So like you wanna that's why I'm like if it's not your cup of tea, then that's what it is. But there should be one game out there referencing fucking CDI Zelda, and here it is.
No.
There should be one.
There's already a game referencing CDI Zelda, and it's the other CDI Zelda.
Similarly, there should be one game that's like we're doing fucking Clay Fighter or Neverhood, or you know what I mean, like just like that era of claymation fucking sprites as well, because 63 1/3 kind of. That wasn't it. Anyway, so they announced...
One of the strangest references to anything from anything. Hey, man, let's make a Clay Fighter game and name it after a Naked Gun movie.
So I just joked about taking the Trespasser LP and making that the port, but Karateka is coming back in the form of a playable documentary called The Making of Karateka.
I mean, that makes sense. Karateka does not have, by modern standards, Karateka does not have a lot going on.
No, but it does have some of the most incredible fucking rotoscoping from way back when. And I remember my older half-brother was showing me that on a computer, and I was like, I can't believe how amazing the detail in how he's climbing up this wall and then doing these moves. And now when I think of it, like until I saw the trailer for The Making of Karateka, it got replaced with that. Have you ever seen that GIF of work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger, but with the Karateka guy doing the dance?
Yeah, of course I have.
That replaced Karateka in my brain. I'm like, oh, it's these doing the work it meme. The Daft Punk fucking bit.
To me, like, I just want this documentary for you to get near the end and have whoever the fuck's idea it was to put that goddamn bird that attacks you show up and be like, it was my idea to put the fucking bird that attacked you at the end and ruin your fucking bullshit. Because that shit was outrageous.
I mean, it sounds like that's very possible, because like they're sitting down with everybody and just interviewing them on like how it came to be. Very cool idea for something that is like
react to that bird,
and especially if it's like this is an old game that's very cool, but there's an appreciation for the story that you can tell about how it was made. If there's a fascinating story to how it was made, then it makes sense to go like, let's release the making of as the game's re-release instead. You know,
that's cute. I like that.
Lord knows there are games out there that fuck porting the game itself, port the story of how the game got made. You know? Duke Nukem Forever. Give me the making of Duke Nukem Forever as the port, actually.
What? That would be much more interesting than Duke Nukem Forever.
A 10-year journey told in chapters.
Yeah, here's That being said, from what I know of the story of Duke Nukem Forever, it's like a game design documentary for like about an hour, and then the remaining 3 hours of it are like, so George, can you help us? And he's like, no, I'm attuning to do a WoW raid. And that's it for like the rest of the thing.
Play that. Well, let me play that. Let me see the emails going through the inboxes of everyone working there. As they see the fucking back turn and the flicker of the screen in the office over there.
Finding out that like a massive proportion of why that game didn't come out was that George Broussard got horribly addicted to World of Warcraft is really funny.
Kickstart the board game that's about you making a Kickstarter and not completing its goals because the sun tells you not to.
I'd play that.
I want to play that! Let's just take it to the next logical conclusion. You know? So, making of Karateka. Good shit. Then the last announcement.
Never gonna forget that until the day I fucking die. Never.
Right? The creator of Patapon announces rhythm action game Ratatan.
Dude, I had such a great experience explaining this to Paige. I'm like, oh fuck, it's Rat-a-tat. And she's like, what? Like, it's the sequel to Patapon. And she goes, what? And I go, you don't know Patapon? And she goes, what? And I go, you know Patapon? And she goes, what are you talking about? And I go, never mind. I don't want to have to explain it.
Man.
But Rat-a-tat.
No, like, and what perfect timing, because I just saw the someone submitted to the Slop stream the video of from American Psycho where they're doing the business cards, except they're putting game soundtracks out. So someone puts down Bury the Light, you know, and someone puts down I forgot something like maybe it was like Doom Eternal or something amazing, and then the third guy, and then he's like Bateman is sweating, and then the third guy just whips out Patapon 2 OST, and it's like,
Patapon 2.
Oh God.
Is the game I am the most angry about in my life not having a pause button. That is, I remember encountering that more times than any other game I have ever played. What psycho said no pause button for Patapon 2? Yeah, there was no pause. You could put the console into sleep mode.
I played Patapon 1, but I didn't know that. Oh my God.
No pause. So when you were on the bus and you had to get off the bus
in a portable situation for this portable PlayStation,
you'd have to put the PSP to sleep,
Jeez.
And then you'd turn the PSP up, and then you'd miss the beat because you couldn't pause it.
Not to mention that when the PSP goes to sleep, like 15 different background processes start to happen, which allow for the game to get busted the fuck open. Because most of the compliance bugs I wrote for the PSP were all related to the sleep switch.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. That thing was a liability, man.
That's
interesting. Well, Ratatan is going to have a Kickstarter.
Great.
Yep. And I appreciate the complete lack of, like, we're not even going to for a second pretend that this is, like, a spiritual success. It's just a successor. Like, it is Schmeier Schmemblem. You know, whether you like it or not. I believe they're triangles instead of circles, but holy fuck, it's just Patapon 3.
Yeah, it's just Patapon. It's named
Ratatan.
Like, give me a break.
Then they announced the return of Gex and Tomba. So, Gex Trilogy. In particular.
Why so much word of noise about Gex and Tomba now?
Okay, so let me test the waters on this one, right? Because to me, as a person who I didn't have a 32X and didn't have PlayStation early when like a lot of formative titles were being released. I only got like a PlayStation. I think anyway, was way down the line. It was like I got a PS2 basically, and then like worked my way backwards on some shit. Gex, in my brain is a series of GamePro and EGM magazine ads.
Yep, that's what it is. That's all it is.
Does anyone have nostalgia for the game, or is it nostalgia for the magazine ads? Because for me, it's all the print ads.
There was a Gex gameplay demo on one of the demo discs I played once, and I played it, and I went, nah.
Okay.
And I went, nah.
Okay.
The only thing I know about Gex or Jex, I don't know which it is.
It's not Gex the Gecko? Gex Gecko?
I don't know. Someone will.
I assume it's the same way you say gecko. Gex.
I think the only thing I actually even know about that game at all is that they used its engine for Akuji the Heartless.
Oh, really?
I think that is the only thing I know about it.
Well then, fucking reset the clock on Akuji the Heartless references. That's wild. Okay. Well, yeah, the trilogy in its full power is coming out. And really, considering the way a bunch of people just now said, I only know the ads, and some people said I know the games, and some said both. So it's like, there's a bunch of us out there that are like, we just know this from this fucking 007 lizard that came before the Geico commercials. And if they know what the fuck they're doing, there will be a gallery collecting all of those ads that you can unlock when you play the game. Because all my brain wants to see is just the full collection of them. Because holy fuck, they spent money on marketing. I can't believe whatever their marketing budget was. It was aggressively insane by comparison to any other game at the time.
That was the 90s. The 90s, you could market anything infinity for some reason.
But Gex ads in particular were like sometimes 2 times per magazine. Like, they went so hard in every issue of everything at the time. You know? You might catch an Earthbound scratch and sniff ad once, because I remember the one that was like, ooh, nasty smells in Earthbound, you know? Or the Romero's gonna make you his bitch, or your blood, you're soaking in it, and all that. And all, you know, you see these, you catch these once or twice or so. But Gex was fucking everywhere. Anyway.
I don't know anybody. I don't remember ever talking to somebody about Gex, even once.
And then Tomba, which is a lot of fun. I'm like, yo, fucking Tomba's coming back. That's cool. Because that was also a game that I played at Microplay for half an hour, paid my $2, and I was like, with that game that has the cool, like, little anime intro and the bright fucking sky and the pigs and the shit, like, it looked, you know, it looked fun. And when I saw, it always reminded me a bit of Mischief Makers, you know, in the way the sprites kind of looked and the spherical build of a lot of the characters and shit. But yeah,
I'm struggling to remember what any of this looks like in my mind. It's too far back. Tomba's pink.
Tomba's got pink hair. He's a caveman, like, you know,
right?
And you jump on pigs, and
yeah, I think it says a lot about that era that, like, all of these games, including Mischief Makers, is, I think I played that on a demo disc one time.
Like, Tomba from a distance could have been like a treasure game, but it's not, you know. But yeah, it was a fucking that was a trip. So cool. Limited Run is grabbing that as well. No details on what it's gonna be, but they're coming to the I forgot the name of the engine they announced, but they're porting shit to their engine and then releasing it on current platforms. So yeah, okay, Limited Run. There you go. And then one last little bit here from the EU has had a ruling that is fighting to have anything portable like Switch and Steam Decks are going to have to mandatorily have a replaceable battery by 2027.
Good.
Fucking awesome.
Good, great.
It's
now controllers.
It's a regulation that's going to get fought against, and it's not like enforced just yet, but they're moving to push this because it's part of the the right to repair rulings that they've been trying to push for. And yeah, like the only reason to not have that is because you want planned obsolescence and to force people to spend more money when they've already bought a thing. There's nothing, there's no good reason to not have this. Fuck that. By all means, make it happen. You know, if you can replace a single part and get your shit going instead of having to go replace the whole fucking thing, excellent. Yeah, this is going to apply to... So current handhelds, they're talking about, so there's Steam Deck and there's Nintendo Switch, but there's also the Asus ROG Ally. Which,
I forgot about that fucking thing.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know it, but it also apparently did not have removable batteries, which is, again, just like, what the fuck? Why not, man? Yeah, that's a fight that's probably going to take some time and then go through.
Why not? Because I want you to buy a new one when the battery bad. That's why. If
you buy a new one, you bought it twice and you gave me double the money, and that makes me happy.
I mean, for fuck's sake, we're like, didn't Apple get caught like semi-recently going like, yeah, so new software updates do use more battery on your old iPhone. Oh.
Let's introduce a thing that'll show you how bad it is instead of just hiding it from you, and that'll be our solution.
That's the solution.
Now you can see the damage in real time. Fuck you, consumer. Yeah, like, eat shit. Yeah, we will see. I mean, it's obvious, like, you know, the old days of lining up 6 fucking AA's for your Game Gear and getting half of a stage of Sonic Triple Trouble out before it dies. Like, we don't need a return. We don't need a return.
There's absolutely no reason the PlayStation controller needs to last one day. Put batteries in it. Yes, you will have to make it slightly larger. Okay. Do it.
Oh yeah, El Shaddai got a port again as well. So, if you want to ascend the Metatron in your Levi's jeans,
I don't.
That's cool. We can just have a Bible study instead.
Okay.
You're lost, bro.
It is my loss. Loss of my
soul. Salvation. If you got a letter, you can send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. Make sure to send Wooly tips on how to build his Baldur's Gate 3 character.
Oh, can't wait for that. A monk, you say, huh? Should I make a paladin dedicated to whatever god or do the thing with the... Yeah. Okay. It's coming. I know when sometimes you open a door and you're like, oh, look, it's a brand new forest. It's a path into adventure. Yeah. It's mystery. Let's see what's there. And sometimes you open a door and it's a path to a new adventure and there's a fucking bleacher lining the pathway with everyone yelling what the fuck is going on, what to do, what's happening, and all that shit before you walk down into the forest. And it's like, all right, bleachers, I know. That's okay.
I would actually say that this is like opening up the door to a new adventure into a funhouse room of 1,000 doors. And the angry screaming of the bleachers is being piped in as you walk into each door and look at it.
And can you build a completely ineffective wrong character that is completely and utterly hopeless from day one?
Well, it's D&D, so yes, you totally can.
Awesome. Great.
You absolutely can.
Great.
That being said, I had a really good... when I was fucking around with the character creation the other night, I was like, I'll see what I can do for, this. And I was like, I don't know what I'd want on my ability score. And then I put all my ability scores the way I wanted them. And then I was like, I wonder. And then I hit the recommended button at the bottom, and it didn't change anything because I had picked out the recommend. So feel free to actually use the recommended button on the ability scores. They're pretty decent. They'll do you fine.
You have 3 hours to respec?
No, that yes. You get respec very early, but you got to beat the tutorial and do a little bit of adventuring.
Yeah.
And then you find the respec man, and the respec man will look at you and be like, "Give me $5."
Can you get a feel for your class within 3 hours?
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
If it's a very conversational, story-heavy game, I would assume.
No, you fight some shit.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
And it's good enough to go like, "Oh wow, I fucking hate casting spells." I'm gonna switch over to this other thing where I punch people with my fist or hit them with a rock.
What about casting spells that make the animals do the fighting?
Who gets that when? Druids would get that at level 2?
Okay.
But that's just they turn into a dog and then they bite people.
Okay. As opposed to, like, a ranger that can, like, point and...
Ranger gets animal companion at, like, 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's kind of more what
somewhere around then.
I don't mean me turning into the bear. I mean me, like, pointing at the bear.
And I think
and commanding it
get make, like an imp
to make
at
love
like
to
level
you.
3.
All right. Here we go. Let's take one from Nathaniel. Says, Dear Charge Input and Overdrive SPD, I've been putting a lot of time into SF6, more than I imagined I would. Never gotten good at fighting games, and arguably I'm still not, but I'm actually enjoying myself. And while I'm struggling through Silver, maining Marissa, I want to thank you guys and your streams for helping me get into fighting games. Trademark.
Oh, that's great.
One thing I'm struggling with more than anything else is managing my frustration losing game after game. In the 3-hour session, I went from Bronze 5 to Bronze 1 without winning a single match. Climbed my way back, but it was really sapping my enjoyment. I'm curious if you have any ways of dealing with managing frustration and salt, if this is really one of those things where I just have to swallow my losses and keep pushing on.
Yell at your wife. No, that's wrong. No, don't do that. That's the wrong one. No,
don't co-sign that.
That happened to me the other day. I had climbed up to Plat 5 with Jamie and then lost all the way down to Plat 2. Just like 50 in a row. Just like bam, 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 bam. I hugged my dog. That's what I did.
Okay.
And I also blamed him, but that's specific. Because the dog's name is Zangief.
So why are you...
And so I looked at him and I said, this is your fault. If you were top tier, I'd be winning more. And then he just slobbered on me, and I was like, you dumb baby.
Should have drive rushed into a 3-way mix-up. Yeah, it's you know, that's part of this. And guess what? That is the same thing that makes people quit, right? So the thing you're describing is real because for the last 30 years, it's made people literally put these games down and never come back to them. So make no mistake, this is a very valid thing to feel.
I'm going to go play a video game where I can't lose called Final Fantasy 16. I got him. All right. Thank you.
I want to delete the opponent. That's a stupid computer. Now I'm big and strong.
Counter hit this motherfucker.
With what? Yeah, exactly. No, but I quoted it last time, and I'll bring it up again. Go watch Brian F's "Your Rank is Accurate" video from Street Fighter V, and what that, in summary, gets at is the idea that like you might be losing to things that are harder to deal with because somebody with an incomplete like skill set is overwhelming one of your things. So if you are well-rounded and you have your defense here, your offense here, and they're all at like a 5 on 10 or so, somebody who has their offense at like a 9 on 10, but everything else at a 0 is going to beat your defense, but they just don't have the rest of it. And it kind of describes how, you know, like that person is not set up to overcome the hurdles they're about to hit, whereas your well-rounded defense will be. But that big picture kind of thought in the moment is not really easy to deal with. And you're just like, what the fuck? That sucks, right? And so whenever I hit those things, the advice I give people in the beginning certainly is like to work on your small goals. try to achieve like try to land a level 3 in the match or whatever. But that's for beginners that are just trying this out. If you've gotten into bronze a little bit and you know what you're doing and you're playing the game and going back and forth, at that point, I think it comes down more to what I would do is I stop after a certain amount, and then I go take a look at my replays, and I go take a look at some tech, and I go take a look at some matches of that character that I lost to. In like whatever the most, like if I lost to like 5 people in a row, whatever the match that I lost the worst was, because sometimes it's I was close, but he just made a better decision. We rolled the dice on it. He did a wake up super and I lost or whatever, right? You fought, but that went not in your way, in your favor. But other times you get crushed. You got perfected. The match where I got perfected or I get crushed is where I'm gonna go look up what the fuck happened there. There's got to be something that I can do about that, because that is a humongous hole in my defense right now, and I have no idea what to do about it. So I'm just going to take all of that other noise of what's annoying me and go look at like this one thing and go like, what is it about this that I have no idea how to deal with, and go see whether there's any tweets about what you can do, whether there's any matches being played by people against that character that have figured out how way around it. I mean, like in some cases, like you can even go look at your replays and go find the person who fought you and go look at their replays and see if they lost to your character and how they lost. So that style in particular is target. Like you can go as in depth as you want to, but the point is step back, and try to learn a little bit about what it is that made that loss happen. And like, if you can maybe fix that, it depends on if you want to, of course. If this all sounds horrible and boring to you, then fuck it. But for me, it helps me to go and learn a little bit more about where that hole was and do my best to start patching it up. And it's going to take a while before that hole gets dried and completely covered. But just starting to patch it up makes me go, oh, okay, all right, let me go back in and play a little more,
I have a much scrubbier solution to this problem for realsy, which is this gentleman said they're playing Marissa. Okay, go to twitter.com, go to the search tab, type in Marissa's name, then underscore, then SF6.
Other way around. Hashtag SF6 underscore Marissa or SF6 underscore.
Are you sure? Because I do Jamie underscore SF6 and I get tons of results.
Well, people use different tags. I tagged the other day SF6 underscore MAR, which some people were using because a lot of games use 3-letter tags. So there's an inconsistency in different games, but there's often a hashtag that you'll find a lot of tech under.
Oh, okay, you can use both and get different results. Yeah. Anyway, do that. And then find some bullshit.
Yeah.
Cheesy fucking crap.
That's what I meant by saying look up some tech. I meant, yeah, you can definitely. But as I scroll and see some people are like, I don't want to do homework. That sounds like homework. I don't want to do that.
No, just find one thing that looks like bullshit and just do it.
Then don't do the homework. Like, fine. But it's just, if it's bothering you, and you do want to make the thing that's bothering you not continue to bother you, then you can try to or you cannot. So, then don't, and then it'll continue.
Or if you feel really bad, like playing Marissa, and you're like, damn it. Pick a character you've never played and do your placement matches, because they're going to start you off against rookies and irons, and you just beat their fucking asses in, and then you'll feel really good because you're beating up like children and old people.
No homework, only result. Like that dog. No give. No ball, no give, only fetch, or whatever the fuck it was. Like,
no throw.
Yeah.
No give, only throw.
Only throw.
My dog is like that. He's stupid.
Like, what do you want to happen? What do you want to happen here?
He wants you to throw it, but he doesn't want you to let it out of his mouth. Similarly, people want to get better, but they don't want to do boring homework.
Okay.
Wooly, I have to say, Wooly, you've brought this up like a million times. Like, What about people don't like to do homework?
I'm describing what I'm doing when I get into a losing fucking state. When I get into a losing state, I just described what I do there. That's
oh, really?
That's it. Like, okay.
The trick is to play a fighting game that no one plays anymore, and so the only people who are playing it are like idiots.
Okay, here's the ultimate trick. Here's the ultimate tip. Fuck
All right,
homework.
let's hear it.
When you lose to something, switch to that character and do the thing that you lost to. And keep going until you lose to something else, and then switch and then do that.
That's actually a half decent.
Done.
Like I was playing. Hey, guess what? I was playing a Ken, and Ken standing Fierce Punch is like the best button that ever was. It feels like. And like, oh, okay, I'll go play Ken, and then I hit it, and I was like, wow, I wish anyone I played had this Fierce Punch, and then I just got sad. Then I was just sad.
Master's Foundation privilege. It be how it be.
Guy's homeless. He's never been in a worse place in his life.
He's just pretending. He's just doing fucking poverty tourism. Oh man, yeah, it's real rough here out on these streets. I know, right? Oh, I hate it.
Ken looks like he hasn't had a shower in a while.
God, that crouching medium kick, my dude. You know, coast to coast Tatsu into fucking crouching jab into fucking confirm into coast into Tatsu for nothing. Yeah.
Should we all just play Ken?
Pick what you lost to, and then do the thing that beat you.
So
there
play
you
Ken?
go.
That will lead to a universe of Kens.
Homework over. Homework over. And if we want to say fuck homework, it's boring and it's stupid, fine. Pick the thing. Do that. Join the army of the enemy and become what you hate. End of timeline.
So Jury, when you hang out with her in World Tour mode, if you like rank up her friendliness, she actually has a really good piece of advice on how to fight and win.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
Like find what your opponent hates and just do it. Make them
do it
really
over and over and over again.
Actually, really good advice.
Great advice. Yeah. Let's see here.
Don't listen to Jury about anything else, though.
All right. Follow up from Elena. Dear Pat and Pat's friend. Elena here. First, I want to apologize if I caught an uptick in mean-spirited emails from people trying to be funny. They don't understand it's only funny when I do it.
That's good. I like that.
Second, I didn't hate Wooly's habits. I'm just being honest. There's not enough time in the day to get through all the franchises we've never touched. But sure, Wooly, maybe you'll get to Fire Emblem someday. Just like someday you'll watch all the anime from the list you made when you were 19. Unironically, I think it's a good habit to collect random talking points, though. So that ties into the trivia I'll share today for the hit show, Jeopardy. I mean, you can feel it. You can feel the aura. It's so menacing.
You know what I can feel? I can feel like do or tap tap tap, write the email out, and then like they sit there and they look at it and they're like, no, I have to rephrase this whole thing because it's coming off real mean.
Even in the back down, it's still the most condescending shit ever. This is wild.
I love it. Condescend away, please.
Do you know the secret to being good at Jeopardy? You see, writers have to balance the difficulty in game shows in ways that most people might not think about. If the questions are too easy, it's not as impressive when people win. Plus, the companies have to pay out more. But if the game show's too hard, the audience feels stupid and loses interest. Jeopardy found probably the best solution to this problem early on. Extremely wide varieties of question categories. Jeopardy questions are specifically written so that any expert in a specific category can easily answer at least some of them, but no one's an expert at everything. Everyone's an expert at something. So this method takes the viewers this method makes it more likely for viewers at home to be able to answer the questions from time to time if they involve something that they specialize in, while also presenting a challenge for doing this consistently. That's why that's the secret to being good at Jeopardy. That's why the secret to being good at Jeopardy is to learn the most basic entry-level knowledge about as many subjects as possible.
Unless you're Ken Jennings. You just know everything.
This is also the secret to being a good commentator. You can't know everything that'll get brought up around you, but if you learn at least one interesting tidbit about everything you can think of, you'll always be prepared to at least say something interesting to your listeners who, statistically speaking, know even less than you. Wooly might not have much to say in an actual serious conversation about Sailor Moon or Kingdom Hearts or Sonic games that are released after 2001, but as long as he can reach into his pocket and pull out a unicorn or a parking lot or Blaze the Cat, he's set for life. And that keeps him in the conversation of going when there's nothing new to contribute, and it might also lead to some fun running jokes or bits and trivia listeners might not know yet. Of course, the one downside to this method is you might sometimes look like a misinformed jackass when the actual experts are in the chat, but that's okay, because everyone's an expert at something, but no one's an expert at everything. As soon as the conversation turns to something else, those same experts don't know shit about the other 90% of the episode and suddenly go quiet. They then get to feel smug for calling you out and then go to bed knowing that it takes the collective knowledge of hundreds of people to consistently outsmart you so everyone wins. I call this method Jeopardy knowledge, and it's a genuine skill that more people should learn. It's not easy to pull off consistently, but if you can manage to always pull things out of your ass for things you've never even watched or played, I think you're doing a good job.
That
Thanks,
Sailor
Elena.
Moon one felt, I feel so targeted. Hey, Wooly, did you know that in Sailor Moon, Chibi Moon fucked a unicorn that one time?
Sure did.
I know that.
And then everybody who rolls their eyes at it goes, yes, we know, whatever. Insert your franchise, insert the one meme, insert the thing, right? Be it Fate
in the English dub.
Or Tuhu or...
Actually, no, hold on. For Fate, we don't make any attempt at all. Fate is like unique in that we have made like 0 attempts to know anything about it. Like the vast majority of my knowledge of Fate comes from that time on TikTok. I saw somebody make a fucking fan cam of a Berserker Man to that Lil Nas X song with the Katy Perry remix.
I mean,
fighting that blonde lady.
But the truth is that I have more perspective on Fate than I even think I do at times, because coming from the early Tsukihime Melty Blood angle into the Fate Stay Night thing, and then the Saber, and then the King Arthur bit, and then as it went on, people I have known. Yes, I've seen the clip of the weird planet birth, and yes, I've seen the people die when they're killed, and yes, I've heard that has a proper explanation, and you meme that every time, and yes, I've seen the thing about you can turn into the black guy, but you can turn into the even blacker guy when you're a little Japanese boy, and yada yada, but by this point, there's enough pieces floating around that it kind of has come together in a bit where it's like, oh, okay, so no, I'm actually surprisingly aware of the fight for the Holy Grail and the champions that have to be chosen throughout history and the reasons that people have to hide their names so that their weaknesses are not exposed, and that the secret of finding out that weakness leads to a lot of people leads to the bracket of the tournament going the way it does, and that there's characters that I would fucking love. For example, the character who is not in fact a mage, because mages look down on all the regular people, but a human who's just gotten really good at mage killing, and that can be the twist in the works and stuff.
Hold on a second. Is Fate the one where the guy holds up that fish and then says he's gonna fuck the fish, and then I bring that up and everyone tells me that's not real, and then I go, that sucks, because that seems really funny?
I don't know.
Is that the one?
I don't know.
No, that's Code Gas.
Code Gaius, sure.
Code Gas. Okay.
And then but that's it. And then there's the
sucks.
multiple
That'd be
Fate
really
series
funny.
that all represent the different endings of the original, but then there's F-Go, which, Grand Order, nobody really knows what's going on. So yeah. The osmosis is strong. You sit here and you let the photosynthesis bleed in for a long time, and you get way more of a context than you'd think. But anyways.
Hey man, did you know that if you sprint as hard as you can for 7 minutes straight, that's all the exercise you need a week? I heard that somewhere. I can't remember where.
Do I have to go pull the article up and paste it again? Do we need to go look at the difference between quick sprints versus endurance versus hit, and the science and the study that went into that?
Nothing will ever make me not like. You could get a professor of. I
posted the goddamn research paper.
Medicine in here, and to explain that to me, and I don't care. I'll still laugh every time.
That's fine. That's fine. You know, I'm like, it's literally right here. Sometimes you click a random thing on the internet and you read it and you go, huh. And then sometimes you recite that thing. Or even worse, before the internet, people would tell you things. And then you'd recite that to someone else.
Oh, dude.
And then nobody says anything afterwards. And then that's the end of that.
So this is actually a really important point, and it does bring me to something that I think is fairly interesting that a lot of our audience doesn't know because they're not old like we are. So, like, I do the content creation, I do my stream, and I go, and I'll say something, and what I have said is something I've known my whole life.
Yeah.
And was debunked 25 years ago as total nonsense.
Right.
And they go, what the fuck? Why are you so stupid? How do you not know that? I'm like, because my mom told me that when I was 5, and it never came up again.
Unlearned. Exactly.
It never ever came up again.
Dude, and the average person goes through life without anyone ever doing what Elena just described, being there to counterpoint the thing, you know?
You guys...
For anybody who's hearing that for the first time, by the way... The bit there was not all the exercise you need for a week. It was the difference between doing short sprints for a period of time versus sustained jogging or even more sustained walking. The benefits of the short-term sprint were they would show more on participants. So it's essentially high intensity interval training in like you know, on paper.
So anyone, okay, popular commodification of the internet was, let's say 98 to 2000. Okay, let's say 98, okay? Anyone under the age of 25 doesn't understand that adults would just make up bullshit. Your teachers and your parents would just make up a lie on the spot to make it look like they knew what you were asking, and they would just tell you. And then you would tell that to other adults who also didn't know and would tell you their thing that they made up, and you had no way to check. There was no way to check.
Nope.
You couldn't check.
That's it.
You just had to go by whoever you trusted more.
And you've been thinking about this lie for longer, so you're more sure of it. Because it's been in your head for a longer period of time. So you must be sure. It has to be true.
My dad was adamant that brown cows is where chocolate milk came from.
There you go. Yeah, perfect.
And he told me that every time we're in a drive and we pass by a fucking brown cow, it's like, those are the chocolate milk cows, Pat. I'm like, ha ha ha. And I was way too old when I learned that was not true. I don't remember how old I was, but I remember I was way too old.
Did you know that Marilyn Manson is really Paul, the best friend from the Wonder Years?
No, I did not know that.
Did you know?
Wait, is that even... Wait, I can look that up now.
No, shut up. That's a cool trivia for me to say to you while we're standing at the bus stop, and then we never ever look it up or fact check or think about it again.
Hey, Wooly, did you enjoy your dinner? You had a nice dinner? Okay,
yeah.
You're done with dinner. Now, I know it's a hot day outside, but you're going to need to wait at least an hour
before
you go swimming.
God damn it.
Because if you don't, you're going to get cramps and your legs aren't going to work and you could drown. So stay out. Stay out of the swimming pool. Stay out of the you don't go to your friend's place. Don't know.
Yeah.
And like I was like 28 when I just happened to be like, oh, that's just complete bullshit. That has no basis in reality at all.
I mean, something I brought up not too long ago, and then there was a Slopstream clip about it, was like, so it is hard confirmed that when you turn the light on in the car when someone's driving, we will die. this is a lethal
and
move.
it's against the law too. The cops will stop you if the light's on in the car.
But even for 1 second, if you turn the light on for 1 second, the equivalent of a sun will spawn inside of the car, and we are all going to perish immediately.
When the light is on in the car,
O'Doyle rule style.
You can't see out of the car, and mom or dad will just crash the car immediately, and you'll die. So don't turn the light on.
Yeah. It's a flashbang. You hit that button, you flashbang the car. I mean, yeah, it's fucking crazy how this shit happens, and it's fucking crazier. Well, I've said it many times, what it does to your confidence in anything you ever say to immediately get fact-checked on it. I remember the exact, the time when I came back in, and I want to say it was mid-Bloodborne, where I went, I think I'm going to have to qualify any little thing trivia knowledge I ever quote.
That was absolutely middle Bloodborne. Yes.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to qualify it with, as far as I've heard, or someone once told me this, but I'm not sure. It's, I'm going to have to add so many just because before that was just me doing what normal people do, which is just, oh yeah, did you know that this? And then,
I was talking to Paige about this yesterday, and I was like, there's a moment in your life. Everybody has a moment, and it's with each big adult in your family or your circle that you pass a threshold in which you're like, I can no longer unqualified trust their statements of the world at face value. Because you're like overwhelmed with like, oh, my mom is completely full of shit.
Right.
About that, right? So it's usually your mom, right? I remember being like 7 or 8, and my mom was showing me how the dishwasher worked. And she opened up the dishwasher, and she took the dishwasher tab, and she put it in the little box, and then was like, remember, don't close it, because if you close the little box for the dishwasher tab, the soap can't get out. And then she closed it, and the tab fell to the bottom of the fucking dishwasher. And then she washed the dishes, pulled the dishes out, and then washed them all by hand because the dishwasher didn't do a good job. And I was like, they show you closing it on TV in the commercial.
What?
And she's like, no, if you do that, the soap can't get out. It won't work. And I'm like, no.
Is this where some of the dish weird shit comes from?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Do you know how my mom washed dishes? She'd rinse them in the sink, put them in the dishwasher, run it, then pull them out, then wash each by hand, and then somebody had to be on hand to dry every single one.
Oh, you never had a chance. You never had a chance. It had to be this way. This was the only way it would end up. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
And I remember being like a 7-year-old and be like, no, you are wrong. You are wrong about this. I didn't have the mentality to understand the phrase, you are completely full of shit, Mom. You're super wrong. But she was. And I remember when I moved out and had and ran into a dishwasher, every time I washed the dishes for like 10 years after that, whoever was around me, I'd go, you're supposed to close the with the soap, right? And everyone would look at me like, yeah, no shit, dumbass.
Jesus Christ.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, you had the moment of doubt, and that allows you to escape the prison. That's very crucial. If you don't have that moment of doubt, you're trapped forever. You never get to see the other side. Boy, yes.
My dad does the dishes now.
Okay, fair.
My mom and dad are older now, and they're by themselves. My dad does all the cleanup after the thing, and I'm pretty sure he just uses the dishwasher normal like.
Wooly, just embrace being wrong. Shut up. I fucking said.
What?
I fucking said. I thought Godhead was the start of character action like an hour ago. Are you out of your mind? We got one coming in from Dirtiest Bag.
I'm losing it.
Hey there, Pat and Wooly. I recently finished Oxenfree 2, and I realized it's one of the few games I've played where I actually struggled about making a good choice for the finale. The game tracks your relationships and creates a climax relative to how many people around you, to how people around you feel about you before presenting you with the very final decision that will cost something from somebody you don't get back. The question is what kind of scenario gives a game legitimately harrowing ethical choices? I know everyone loves harping on ME for the pick your color explosion, but I don't. But I know that there's definitely potential for legitimately tough options in loyalty missions, such as Legions in loyalty mission in 2. So I've touched on obviously the what I thought would make for a better Mass Effect ending at length at this point, and talked about it here as well as on the Wooly versus the Algorithm
might be
clip.
like the most discussed how do we fix this ending in a game ever.
But the when it comes to like what makes for a good ethical dilemma in something, I mean, I know that I often I can roll my eyes at any time I bring up disco as a great thing to point to, but the reality is that it does something that I think makes a huge difference here, and it does something that Mass Effect didn't do, right? If you want to make a good ethical dilemma and have it be like a proper conundrum, but then have the follow through, I guess, feel good. Or not even feel good, but just like feel like you accomplished, you told a story. As a creator, storyteller, as a writer, whatever, you have to stand for something and pick that thing as the way you want to tell your story. You have to pick an angle, you have to pick an idea, an ideology, whatever the case is, and you have to actually stand for that thing and believe in that thing and write your story as if you do believe in this thing. And this has to be a through line of what you think the choice should be or how things should go. And then once you have that and you believe in it, you can analyze it from different choices and critique it from different choices point of view. But if you don't have that thing, you're going to feel like a weird, like the game doesn't know which one of these ways it should go, nor is it committed to any of them because everything is kind of wrong, I guess. And it feels hollow and pointless, and it feels like your journey was a waste of time, right? So you pick something and commit to it and then frame the diversions around it or the alternate paths as ways of critiquing that main thing you believe in.
I have so that is like a what do you call it? Top level, like top down, like view of it in terms of like what's in the writer or designer's heart, right? I have a lot more of a bottom up view of looking at this, right? So I look at KOTOR 1 as like the absolute slam dunk of complete good evil narrative failure, like the worst ever. In that good and evil are fucking Skittles choices to flavor your experience. There's no narrative weight to it.
Right.
Like number one, if you want to have an actual argument between a good choice and an evil choice, the good choice has to be hard and the evil choice has to be easy. And like Star Wars not getting that is like baffling. If you're playing KOTOR 1 and the threat is like, oh, the dark side, though, you should level up faster by being evil. And the game should have a level cap that you're going to hit no matter what, but you get there way faster by being a prick. Because that's the whole point, right? Is that it's easier to be an asshole.
It is,
right?
That would be an interesting mechanical way to make consequences a thing. Also, gray being presented as if it were anything, but then not actually being a thing.
Yeah,
but that's the history of like the entire IP,
right? Like BioShock is similarly awful, where you get like just as many rewards from being a good person in BioShock as you do from being evil, and it's like no, make it a real decision.
And that's what's so interesting about the difference there with when you compare it to KOTOR 2, because Krea's ideology is going to be a focal discussion point, and it is a worthy discussion point that we do actually want to compare your lens of analysis to hers. And whatever choice you take and why, like her getting her very convincing but ultimately fucked up approach across is something you have to go through to get to the other side, even if you're swinging your lightsabers around. And because her ideology is the most fucking fascinating thing about that franchise, in my opinion, taking that as what you're going to ride around makes it a worthy journey, you know? Don't fucking come into it and not know what you believe in, so to speak, and kind of just go, I guess you went that way, you know? Even in the disco sense, where disco's like, all right, well, you're gonna go that way, that's fine, and we're gonna fucking make fun of you the entire time. Yeah. We're gonna take the piss out of you. But you're gonna get to hear the choices you've made compared through the lens of what Kurvitz thinks, you know?
Sorry, it took me a second to Kurvitz doesn't activate my fucking neurons the way it probably should. The second thing for me is like, you should say you want to have an ethical dilemma. All your choices should have upsides and downsides. Like having you're gonna save all the orphans and get a medal versus kill all the orphans and get no. I'm thinking of The Witcher, right? The Witcher has a situation which bad guy is getting away and he lit his house on fire behind him. Save the people trapped in his house, or make sure he's never gonna fuck with anybody ever again. Right. That's great. They are both the right decision.
Yeah, you can trolley problem your way through an entire game if you need to.
So this makes I don't know if how much you've been following BG3. Did you see that Dark Urge?
We talked about it last week. But,
right. Okay. So there's new information on that. So they showed off some cutscenes in which so normally when you go talk to a squirrel in the Baldur's Gate 3, you go, oh hey look, adorable little squirrel, and you have pet it or try and feed it or kick it against the tree so hard it explodes. Right, as your options. Dark Urge talking to the fucking squirrel auto picks for you and kicks that thing against the tree so hard it explodes, which then gives you a follow-up unique to Dark Urge where you get to freak out and go, oh my god, why'd I do that? Or yeah, that was really good, I like that.
Wow.
Okay. And Jesse Cox was talking to some Larian people, and he was like, how the fuck does that work? Is there certain parts of the game where the character is just going to take control of you against your will? And the way that they explained it is that the Dark Urge character origin is every time you're faced with an option to wantonly murder somebody for no reason or viciously brutalize them and pick no, it is running a tally. And the next time you try and say no, the urge will run an intimidation check against you. And if it wins, it will force it. So the idea is that you will have to engage in it a little to make sure that it remains within your control. Because if you just deny, it will eventually just pop.
Okay.
And you'll snap at somebody you don't intend to.
That's a lot of fun. That's a very fun way to keep you on your to keep you role playing, right?
Yeah.
You have to role play. Yeah.
Because they don't want them to have you're obsessed or you're overwhelmed by a violent murderous urge you can't control, and then every single player just goes, no, I will not do it.
Right.
That's really boring.
When do you let a little bit out, and you can see how that might enact itself on if you're playing that would be something that a really good DM would sit you down and tell you in private about your character before you start the session, you know?
Yeah.
That like, okay, we're not going to tell everybody here, but you've got this going on. And
It makes
and if you tell everyone at the table, they're going to know and like kind of get your actions, but it has to read as kind of fucking crazy. So it needs to be a little bit of a secret thing, you know?
like, it makes me think, and it might be a bit of a strange example, but it makes me think of like Shinji rolls to disable Unit 3. Shinji has failed the roll to disable Unit 3. Shinji is now tearing Unit 3 apart and eating Unit 3. And Shinji is sitting at the table going, I didn't roll for that! I don't want to do that! Why is it doing that?
I mean, at the same time, let's say you successfully go, Shinji rolls to not do that. Then you say, no, I don't want to freak out. And you go, okay. And then the urge goes away. And then later on, Shinji rolls to just walk out of the hospital room and go get a Coke. Oh,
Shinji,
why is
you have rolled a 1 on walking out of the hospital.
The option's grayed out. But what? Oh, no. Yeah. So, there you go. All right. That is satisfactory. I'm pleased with that.
Hope you all have a good week, everybody. Stay safe.
Later.